Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Hyatt Regency on Goat Island in downtown Newport for the Newport Gulls 2016 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'm George Bissell of the Newport Gulls Broadcast Network, and tonight the Gulls kick off the 2017 season in style with their Hall of Fame induction ceremony. The Gulls will be inducting a pair of members of the 2001 championship club, Michael Bolander and Billy Grazier. Bolander, a two-time Gull, hit 10 home runs to lead the NECBL in 2001. He also won the home run derby. Billy Grazier had a .468 on-base percentage and a team record 32 stolen bases that year. In addition to Bolander and Grazier, three more Gulls will be enshrined here this evening, starting with Stephen Peterson, a three-time Gull from 2007 to 2009. He was a member of the championship team, a standout pitcher. Also, star defensive shortstop Michael Affronti, a two-time Gull, a member of the 2005 championship squad, and Mike Malolo, a two-time Gull and a key fixture, a catalyst in the Gulls' 2009 championship run, hit over 400 in the postseason. So those players will be enshrined tonight, along with Al Wiseman, a fixture at Cardines Field, the longtime scoreboard operator and one of the most friendly faces in the Newport Gulls organization since 2001. He's been operating the scoreboard at Cardines Field. So we'll have exclusive interviews with the Hall of Fame inductees and special guests, along with tribute video presentations and a massive silent auction to follow later this evening. This promises to be a great night, and we hope you'll join us as things continue next here on the Newport Gulls Broadcast Network. And we're back here at the Newport Gulls 2016 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'm joined by a very special guest, one of our inductees, Michael Bolander. Mike, how you doing this evening? It's got to be a special night.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. It was nice seeing Billy, my teammate from 2001. I haven't seen him since then, so that was fun. And yeah, I'm really excited about it.
On a night like tonight, do the memories just kind of flood back to you about your time here in Newport that season?
They've kind of been slowly trickling back since the reunion weekend that I came to, and then when Chuck said I'd be inducted in the Hall of Fame, just looking back through old pictures, videos, yeah, they've all come rushing back.
Were you surprised that you were elected in the first place, or how did that conversation go when Chuck called you?
He actually announced it at the reunion. So I had no idea. I just came back to see how everything was, and he announced it at the reunion. Yeah, it was a shock. It was an honor, but it was a shock.
You were with the Gulls for 2 seasons. Obviously, you played in Cranston before coming down to Newport. What was that transition like? Because I don't think very many Gulls in history have ever experienced that.
It was night and day, to tell you the truth. I mean, nothing against Cranston and our GM at the time. I think his name was Jim Clark. They did a good job, and we lost in the championship. But as far as the way the organization was run and everything, the atmosphere, it was definitely a lot better playing in Newport. It's definitely night and day. It was exciting playing here. Even though it was the first year in Newport, just kind of getting the word out. We had a great season, and it was a lot of fun.
Anytime you talk to Chuck Pava, he always talks about, we need to find a first baseman who hits like a Mike Bolander. We need to find that kind of a guy. So you had 10 home runs in 2001 here in Newport, so you must have liked that transition coming down to Cardines with that short porch and right.
You know what? The funny thing is there's a short porch in Cranston as well. It wasn't as short as Cardines, but I think I was kind of, keyholed into that spot because they wanted a lefty power guy, and I fit the bill. But yeah, it was nice hitting in Cardines. You can get into trouble a little bit, get a little pull happy, but yeah, it was nice. Cozy park.
Tell me a little bit about the home run derby. You had 2 home runs to win it, but as we all know, if you've ever been to Montpelier, that's a tough ballpark to hit anything out of. Tell me a little bit about that experience and what that was like for you.
We all kind of had an idea of how the ballpark would play, obviously, because we played there during the regular season, and it's a tough place to hit. Dimension-wise, but also, I think there's like a lake behind center field, and the wind is constantly blowing in. And yeah, it was tough. I was the only person to hit a home run. That's the type of home run derby it was. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. The All-Star game and the home run derby.
Now, you went on to coach at Pace University. You were the strength and conditioning coach there for 11 years. How much did your experience in Newport maybe naturally transition you to a life in baseball after your playing days were over?
To be completely honest, I think I was always a good teammate, good at being part of a team. They say team guy, the term team guy, but I think I was always good at that, being part of a team, the team dynamic, and helping my teammates. Definitely, but it's just I think experience helps in any kind of job, any line of work that you're in, and that certainly helped me as far as coaching the athletes, know what the athletes are going through on a day-to-day basis, and being able to relate is a big thing, because if they've known you've been there, done that, your word carries a little bit more weight.
Absolutely. You serve in that capacity now with the Tampa Bay Rays organization at High A Princeton, correct?
Correct.
What's that experience been like for you? Once again, dealing with young players, guys who are just making the transition into pro ball.
Sure.
How beneficial has that experience been for you?
The same way I'm able to relate, in the fact that I've gone through everything a newly drafted player has gone through, and it being at a low level in the minor leagues, that's what we get. We get a lot of high school guys, a lot of college guys, first year guys. So that has helped me relate, certainly. And then just, they know you've been through it, I think, so your word carries more weight right off the bat, regardless of what they think of you, and it's a good way to start, honestly. But it was a good experience, a lot of travel, a lot of staying in hotels, but yeah, I had a lot of fun.
It's true, long bus rides.
Yes, bus rides, hotels, the whole nine. But it was nice being a part of the game again.
I want to know a little bit about your teammate, Billy Grazier, who's also going into the Hall of Fame tonight. It seems like nobody was able to throw him out on the base paths back in 2001.
He wasn't. It was an automatic double whenever he got on base. It was nice to hit behind him, I'll tell you that. But he was the fastest guy I ever played with, bar none. It wasn't even a contest. He could steal bases standing up. That's how fast he was. He didn't need to slide. But we actually played against each other in college. During our regular college season, him at St. John's, me at Pace, and he'd get on base and we'd talk for a little bit, and then when we were done talking, he'd say, "All right, I got to go," and he'd steal the base. And there was nothing I could do about it. I could tell the catcher he was going, and he wasn't going to throw him out. So those are the type of memories that come back, and it's nice.
Absolutely. When you think back on the Newport Gulls now, all these years later, what's maybe the one thing that stands out to you the most that you remember and say, when I look back and I think of the Gulls, this is what kind of summarizes all of that for me?
Well, I think, following the Gulls over the years and seeing how much success they've had, how many championships they've won, while not surprising, definitely fills me with pride, obviously. So the memories that I look back to is, being the first year here in Newport, like we were getting the field ready, like we were painting the bleachers. We were up there painting the bleachers, cleaning things, and getting everything ready for opening day, and just that whole anticipation, doing that. So that was exciting. And then, to be completely honest, game results, game scores, they kind of fade from your memory. But those times that you're with teammates and bus rides and in the dugout messing around and practice and all that stuff, those are the type of things that kind of flood back and you appreciate, certainly.
Absolutely. Mike, congratulations on your induction here later tonight. Hope you enjoy the season.
Thank you very much.
So you have it, Mike Bolander joining us on the Newport Gulls Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We'll be back with more from our inductees next in just a moment on the Newport Gulls Broadcast Network. And welcome back to the Newport Gulls 2016 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We're here with another one of the inductees. It's Stephen Peterson, a three-time Newport Gull and one of the few to hold that distinction. Stephen, first of all, congratulations on your induction here tonight.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
So what
nice to be here.
What was that moment like for you when you received the news that you were going into the Gulls Hall of Fame?
It was a great moment. I mean, it was something that I was obviously excited about, and I think my family was just as excited as I was. We've always loved. I loved playing down here. My family loved coming down here to watch me play. It's an unbelievable place to spend the summer. I was lucky enough to spend 3 years here, like you said, and to kind of have this honor to kind of wrap it all up for me is pretty cool. So I'm happy to be here.
So what factored into your decision to come back to Newport? I know you played there for the first year, then you came back, and then you came back. What was that process like for you each time you had to consider, well, I guess I'll go back to Newport? I know one year I think you had an injury you were coming back off of.
Right. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, after that 2007 season, just kind of being here, it felt like home to me. I mean, my host family was unbelievable that first year. I ended up having them the full 3 years that I was here, but they made me feel at home. They were like second parents to me, and just comfortable with everything. Comfortable with with being a member of this team, comfortable with my teammates, comfortable with the the coaching staff, comfortable with Chuck and Chris and all the owners and everything like that. And like I said, really making you feel like you're a member of a family and making it comfortable to show up to the field and play every day. So it was a pretty easy decision to spend 3 summers here.
Well, if the Newport Gulls are a family, then Mike Coombs at the time, the manager for the Gulls, he must have been like the crazy uncle. What's your best Mike Coombs story? What do you remember most about him, the legendary manager for the Gulls?
Mike Coombs. He was, I'll tell you what, I mean, so many stories. I don't even know if I could pick one.
It's hard to describe the experience.
Absolutely. I think I remember being at home one time, and I want to say it was the playoffs, and there was a call. It was a close call, maybe on a steal at second base, and he started running out a little bit, and you could see the umpire sort of discussing what was going on. You see him walking back to the bench like he was going to keep his cool, and once they sort of throw that out symbol out there, you see a couple of chairs flying, from the dugout out onto the field, and made sure to tell them to clean it up and everything like that. But coming from the bullpen down there watching that stuff, you get a kick out of that. So
how special was it for you in your 3rd season back in 2009 to finally win a championship? You were here 2 years, and then to really break through that final year. That must have been special for you more than almost anyone else on the team.
Absolutely. It's tough watching the other teams celebrate on your home field the first 2 years, like what happened in 07, 08, having the other team celebrate here. But coming back here and winning in 09, especially in front of the home crowd and everything like that, like you said, was special. Especially after you taste that defeat a little bit, and for all the years, all the hard work, all the behind-the-scenes stuff that we've been through around here, to finally get a championship and get it done was awesome.
One of your teammates is also being inducted tonight from 2009, Mike Melillo. He had a 2-year run with the Gulls here as well. And the thing I think most Gulls fans remember is how he helped carry the team offensively to that championship in 2009. What are some of your memories of Mike and what he was like during his time here in Newport?
Mike was one of the best catchers I've ever thrown to. I mean, even, being in high school, college, professional baseball, I mean, Mike's the type of guy that kind of takes control back there. He's not afraid to come out, grab you by the collar, let you know what's going on. And like you said, offensively, he always led the way. Always got the job done at the plate. Always came up with clutch hits, especially in the playoffs that year. But Mike's a great friend. Mike's a guy that I still keep in touch with today, and it's awesome to see him tonight and to see him share this honor too, because he deserves it as much as anybody else. So happy for him.
So you're still playing professionally. You're with the Milwaukee Brewers organization, promoted to AAA this year. What's Colorado Springs like? I guess is naturally.
It's nice. It's nice. The elevation is a little different. It's you hear people talk about it all the time. You don't really understand it until you get up there. They say it's not the best pitchers league, but I think I only had a couple outings there, so I didn't get to see that too much. But I mean, the area is beautiful. There's a lot of fun. Great atmosphere, good crowds, good fan base, and fun to be a part of. Fun to finish the season up there in AAA, get a little taste of that, and hopefully this year have a good spring training, and we'll see what happens.
How much did your time in Newport sort of prepare you for the experience of minor league ball? Because that's the thing we hear from a lot of former players who go on to play professionally. This was like playing minor league ball. We're on the bus, you're on your own, you're responsible. How much did playing for the Gulls prepare you for your professional career?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You get the first time you get the wood bat league. First time you're kind of playing in that kind of thing. The bus rides, like you said, the travel, all that stuff, to just kind of get used to that, it definitely prepares you. You have a little bit of, it's not as long of a schedule, obviously, but you're on your own. You're away from that type of college atmosphere, so it's a more relaxed environment than college was, more relaxed environment than pro ball was, but you have that time to mature as not only a person and as a player too. And you you hopefully you put it all together. You learn what you're capable of in summer ball there, and go back to your college season, get ready to go, and then hopefully, like I said, you get the chance to play pro ball and kind of let it all culminate there. So.
You spent 3 seasons in Newport, which I think is more time than almost any other Gull in the organization's history. So, I guess, what's your best memory when you look back on it all? You had more opportunities than anybody to experience Newport. What's the one thing you look back on and go, that was really special, or the thing that you're going to remember most about your experience with the Gulls?
It's funny because Chuck asked me this question the other day too. My family's been asking me this question a bunch. I go back to just winning that championship in 2009, and a little funny story. I actually took the trophy home with me that night. Chuck wasn't happy at the time, not happy at all. He actually chased me down Thames Street when I had the trophy in my hand. But I think at the end of the day, he was he knew how much the trophy meant to me. He knew, after losing in 07, 08 that I finally got one in 09, and he let me have it for the night that night, which was pretty cool. It actually slept in bed with me. So, I think that's probably my favorite memory. There's a ton that I could talk about, but that was definitely a lot of fun.
I think you earned it. I think it's kind of
absolutely. That's what I told him too. I think I told him, hey, I earned this. Let me take it for the night.
So you and your fiance also, congratulations. You just welcomed a new baby.
Yes, thank you very
family.
much.
So,
yes.
how's that changed things for you? Because that's obviously a big step in life.
He's 10 days old, so it's changed a lot. I don't sleep quite like I used to. I'll tell you that for sure. But no, it's a blessing. She's been absolutely amazing through it all. She's like I said, we're 10 days out. She wanted nothing more than to be here tonight. Originally it was kind of like, hey, if we get close to the day, what are we going to do? But no, we're more than happy to be here. He's lucky enough to be here with us tonight, and we have my wonderful family and friends who are here too to kind of help us with everything. But yeah, I would say we're very happy to have him. Little Brady Peterson. Hopefully he's a Gull one day soon. So
future Gull.
Absolutely.
I hope so. Steve, well, congratulations to you and your fiance, and best of luck going forward with the Brewers. Hope to see you in the major leagues someday soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay.
So there you have it, Steven Peterson joining us here, and we'll be right back with more from the inductees here on the 2016 Newport Gulls Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And we're back here at the Newport Gulls Hall of Fame induction ceremony 2016. I'm joined by a very special guest, Mike Affronti, one of the inductees today. Mike, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How special was that moment for you when you first found out that you were going to the Gulls Hall of Fame?
It was amazing. I mean, it's this place has really kind of left a stamp on my heart. And it was funny. I opened the envelope. I got the envelope in the mail. I was at my apartment with my wife. She said, "What is that?" I opened it up, and she just saw the smile from ear to ear. And I said, "We're going back. We're going back to Newport, honey." And it just brought back such a flow of some of the great memories I had here. So it was a really special moment for me.
Whenever I hear about your name in Gulls lore, it's always the guy was a wizard with the glove. I mean, he could make plays.
Well, I didn't hit very well, so I better start making plays.
So, what were some of the keys for you, at least defensively, when you look back on it?
I just took a lot of pride in my defense. It's something that you can, and I tell all of my young players this whenever I'm coaching or helping out. You can be good every day. There's going to be times when you come to the field and the ball just looks like a pea, and you're just not going to get a hit that night. It's just that's the game of baseball for you. But with defense, if you put the work in and you understand the game and you understand the hitters, you can be good every single night. And that's just what I tried to help my team any way I could, and I knew that was my way I could help every day.
The two-time Gull, 2004 and 2005, and that second year you got to be under Mike Coombs, the new manager for the Gulls. What was that first season like with Coach Coombs?
Coach Coombs was great. He was just such a chill guy. He was just a fun guy to play for. You came to the park, and that year we won a lot of games. It was hard not to have fun, but he was just a guy that was just always loose, and it kind of radiated through the rest of his players.
When you look back on your experience now, how special was it to win that championship back in 2005? Because it was your final season with the Gulls, and that really must have meant a lot to you when it happened. It
really was, for a couple reasons. One, because I love these guys so much, and everything they do for Newport and collegiate players, and they're just so much fun to play for, and the guys that we had, the team, we were so close, our team, so you just felt like we have to do this, and then we were actually just talking about it in there. I don't want to talk too much about it but the 2004 season, I don't know if you know the history, but we were in the championship game, bases loaded, no outs, with the hottest hitter in the history of baseball for us coming up to the plate, and he nubbed one back to the pitcher for a double play, and then the next guy popped out, and it was just such a heartbreaking loss. So to come back the next year and win it all was great.
Was that the infamous Sanford game?
Yes, that was a Sanford. The Drew Lock was hitting a 455 or something at the time.
Yeah.
First pitch slider, one hopper back to the pitcher. and our hearts broke.
Well, it makes 2005 that much more special.
That's right.
In that way. So you ended up playing 5 seasons in the athletics organization in the minor leagues. You made it all the way to AAA. How did Newport prepare you for that experience going on and playing pro ball?
Well, Newport was really one of my first times in competitive ball with the wood bat, and I think what Newport also did for me was just I didn't hit very well my first year here, so it was good to kind of experience that failure and just have the people around me that I had that just would kind of lift you back up and just say, you know, then they'd pick you up, and then the next day you'd come back and you'd pick them up, and it was just the atmosphere that just locked in my head, like, look, okay, you're not going to hit every day, it's not going to always go great for you, but you come to the park the next day and you play for your teammates, etc. And you know, I think that's kind of a mentality I kept all through pro ball.
So your playing days are now over, but you and your wife just welcomed, I think it's a daughter,
Yeah.
into the world. 6 months old now?
6 months old, Aubrey. Yeah, she's unbelievable. You can't describe the moment, you know, when she came into this world, and just every day is, you know, I'm just looking at that clock, waiting to go home to my little girl. She's really great. She's unbelievable.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
That's very special. So, my final question to you: when you look back on your experience now, it's been nearly a decade. What do you remember most about the Newport Gulls, and what are some of the things you're going to tell people about the Gulls when you look back on it in the years to come?
Just the people, you know, just you know, Chuck and Chris and Ron and Mark and just everything they've done for this community and the camps they do, and just coming to the park every day was so much fun. And I've never had that much fun playing baseball in my entire life. I will, you know, and it's going to sound like a broken record this whole night. The 2 greatest summers of my life. And I promise you, everybody else is going to say the same thing. It's just, you can't describe it. The atmosphere, the people, it's fun. That's all, you know, just fun.
Yeah, when everybody says it, it must be true.
Yeah, that's right.
So I know we were talking before. You've always wanted to do this. You wanted to wear the Nick Lima fedora.
I do.
So let's do that.
Let's put this on here, and I'll do my my Nick Lima voice. We're here at historical Cardines Field for the matchup against the Newport Gulls and the Sanford Mainers.
That's pretty good.
My Nick
hand
Lima.
it to you. That was fantastic. Micah Frati, congratulations on your enshrinement tonight.
Thank you very much.
And thanks so much. So there you have it. We'll have more. I don't know if it's going to be that entertaining. That was the highlight of the night so far. But there's Micah Frati. We're going to be back with more from the 2016 Newport Gulls Hall of Fame induction ceremony in just a moment on the Newport Gulls Broadcast Network. And we're back here at the Newport Gulls 2016 Hall of Fame induction ceremony with another one of the inductees, Billy Grazer. Billy, congratulations on your induction here tonight.
Thank
It's got to
you
be a
very
special
much.
night for you.
Tremendous. Love being back in Newport, and the fact that I get to sit here and being honored with a great class is truly amazing and humbling at the same time.
We were just talking to your teammate on that 2001 team, Mike Bolander, and he said you were the fastest guy he ever saw, that nobody could throw you out. Is that true? Is the legend real?
Rumor has it I used to run once upon a time. No, I mean, I could run. That was the one tool that I could always rely on. And the coaching staff actually embraced it. They said, hey, you know, get on and go right from day one. So that's what I did. Also, if I didn't get myself in a scoring position, Bo wouldn't get his RBIs and he'd club me over the head with his bat. So that was the game plan.
Take me through a typical at-bat. You get on base. Take me through what's going through your mind as you take your lead off at first and you get ready to go.
Yeah, so first I take a look at, all right, righty, lefty, what are some of the cues that I could go off of? Never steal off the catcher, try to get off the, go off the pitcher, so that way you get a better jump. And, you know, everybody's got a key, so it's only a matter of time before I go and find it. So that's it. Sometimes I took things a little bit personal. If I got hit by a pitch, I made sure I was gone on the next one. So, but that, you know, that's it. Just get on and go and see if they could come and get me.
You had a .468 on base percentage that year in 2001. Was that something you thought about? Like, man, I'm getting on base half the time here. This is crazy.
No, it's funny. I didn't, you know, people say it and they don't really mean it. I actually didn't really look at stats all that much, but I do keep track of stolen bases because that's something I kind of hung my hat on because I felt not a lot of people could do it. I didn't hang my batting gloves like Willie Mays Hayes, but so as I started to accumulate some stolen bases, it was probably because I was getting on a lot. But hey, I was hitting leadoff and doing exactly what they asked me to do.
So what was that like, ending up winning an NACBL championship, the first one in Gulls history? How special was that moment for you and your teammates back?
That was unbelievable. The one thing I'll never forget was actually walking out onto the field against Keene for that game, and the crowd was electric. The crowd in Newport was always electric, and that's what made it very special. But I thought right from the first inning, I said, "There's no way we're losing this game. It's just not going to happen." So I don't want to say it wasn't anticlimactic because of that, but it really was special. Up until that point, I had not won a Big East championship or really a championship of any kind. So that was the first one, and I remember going up to Coach Carcone and I said, "It's the first time I won the last game of the season." So, it was on after that. We had a good party, we celebrated, and the fact that we were able to do it in the inaugural season was really special.
So what are some of the things you took away from your experience in Newport that helped you, not necessarily in your professional career in baseball beyond that, but maybe in life in general? How important was this experience for you as a college kid coming here to Newport playing summer baseball?
I mean, Newport to me was magical, but the organization really felt like a family. It taught me that you could win and treat people the right way and put players first at the same time. It wasn't, you didn't have to have drill sergeants. You didn't have to sacrifice, good character to go ahead and win. We had a special group, and that's something that I took away from that. A couple years after I got into coaching some 15-year-olds and 16-year-olds, and a lot of things that I learned in Newport as far as putting players first and really understanding who they are as people. I knew winning would follow, and we ultimately ended up winning a championship there. So, I like to think that they taught me how to win the right way. So
absolutely. So before we go any further, congratulations, by the way. You and your wife just had a daughter.
That's
I
right.
understand,
That's right. Ella, she was born 4 months. Her 4-month birthday was yesterday. So she got to spend it here, which is fantastic.
Well, at least she'll have a story to tell when she gets back.
Exactly. It's a real game changer, but it's perfect that she's here for this event. Wouldn't change anything.
So how old does she have to be before you tell her that you still own the Newport Gulls single season record for steals with 32?
I don't know.
In 36 games.
It depends how long that record stands. Maybe I'll keep a program so that way she believes me that once upon a time I could play ball a little bit. So, but yeah, we'll see if it still stands. Maybe she'll understand it when she's playing some softball.
It's been 15 years and steals are kind of on the decline. I think you might have a shot here. You have the one record.
That's right. Listen, I'm rooting for it because it means somebody's getting on and scoring a lot of runs, which is always good for the Gulls. Part of me, I'm not going to lie, I would like to see it stand as long as possible, but as long as people are trying to go and get it, that'll be a good thing for the Gulls.
So what's your favorite memory as we kind of wrap up here? What's your favorite memory of your time in Newport? When you look back on this experience in another 15 years, obviously tonight, fantastic, you're going in the Hall of Fame, but when you think back on it, what really stands out the most about your experience there?
I mean, besides watching Bolander hit moonshots into Providence, I mean, the night of the championship, I just thought that and the day that Team USA came to Cardines Field for the first time, those were just two special nights, and it was really because of the atmosphere that was created. I mean, here we are, this team that it's the first year in Newport, and we're selling out, and everybody is just embracing the group and going nuts. Like, the crowd was just electric on those 2 nights. I'll never forget it. It was lively. Everybody was going, and like I said, every out of that championship game, the crowd was into it. It's something that I still talk about to the point where my friends are probably nauseous hearing about it. But it really was just tremendous. That to me will always stand out.
Well, congratulations, Billy, to you and your wife on the birth of your daughter and on your induction here tonight.
Thank you.
There you have it, Billy Grazier of the 2001 Newport Gulls, going in along with his teammate Mike Bolander here tonight. We'll have more coming up next when we continue here on the Newport Gulls 2016 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And we're back here in the Newport Gulls 2016 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. George Bissell joined now by Mike Melillo, the final of our inductees for the interview. So as far as the player portion of the inductees, Mike, I mean, what do you say? 2 seasons here. You went and lived in Newport after your playing career was over. I mean, how special is Newport to you? What does it mean to you to now be a part of the Gulls Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think it's pretty unique. You know, I've been fortunate to live in a lot of different places between baseball and my parents. We moved around quite a bit growing up, and I fell in love with this place instantly. The charm, the people, the town. Obviously, playing baseball here was quite a bit of fun, but you know, overall, it's been a real blessing to be able to come back here and start my own family. I just got married recently, and my wife and I now live locally in town, so I think I'm guilty as charged of taking advantage of being a Newport Gull.
So you spent 2 seasons here, 2008, 2009, and you look back on that season, and you were really the catalyst there in the playoffs, helping lead the Gulls to a championship. Seemed like you couldn't make it out during the postseason there back in 2009.
I sure made it out during the regular season of that year, so I'm glad I could contribute in some way to the team. But no, I think you look back at that roster, what's amazing is the talent that Chuck and Chris can aggregate here. I mean, Greg Garcia was hitting 9th for the majority of our year in our lineup, and now he's playing in the big leagues. Right. So I think it's a testament to the type of talent that they attract here, but the quality of the program they put together. So it's fun. My wedding this past July, Joey Bergman was there, Kevin Moran was there, so there are a bunch of former Gulls that got to partake in it, which, you know, is really the most special part, is you get to play together and live together for about 50, 60 days for the summer, but we formed lifetime friendships, which is really special.
You were the MVP of the 2008 All-Star Game. What do you remember about that game?
What do I remember about that game? So specifically, what I remember is we played a night game the day before on the road. And the guys that were participating in the All-Star game, we got in about 2 in the morning, and they all gave me their laundry because we couldn't drop it off and get it done that day because I believe the game was in Torrington, and we had to be on the road for the Home Run Derby pretty early. So I actually did 7 guys' laundry that morning prior to the game and barely made the bus. That's my memory of the All-Star game.
You had you came back, I think it was 2012, we did baseball where the Gulls raised money for children's cancer, and that was just such an incredible moment. What inspired you to come back and sort of start that tradition and make that event possible?
Yeah, you know, a friend of mine that I met down at Elon, Chase Jones, started this program. He got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer when he was at UNC Chapel Hill. And he survived and was in the pediatric department and decided that he wanted to take his life in a different direction. And so when I was here that summer, my brother was obviously on the team, and I got to spend a lot of time with the guys on the field. But in particular, what motivated me was to watch Chase really, with very little effort, create a tremendous amount of lift, and the ability to motivate a community both at the collegiate level but in the summer level. Newport was the first summer team that actually did this, and I don't know if you guys know this, but subsequently Chase went off and he formed his own foundation called Versus Cancer, and now across the country, not only summer leagues but Major League Baseball and Minor League Baseball are now participating in it. So it's a nice claim to fame the Gulls should put in their cap for sure, that they were the first actual non-collegiate baseball team to partake in it. But it was near and dear to my heart. I mean, if you can't rally behind childhood cancer research, I don't know what'll get you going.
Yeah, I remember first planning that season, and Chuck came to me and said, Mike wants to do this night, and I thought this is going to be a fantastic night. We ended up raising thousands of dollars for children's cancer. That was really special.
It was a lot of fun. It was cool. I actually just came across the picture the other day, and I believe another guy from that team made the big leagues this year. But to see all of those players is a memory they'll never forget, with all of their heads shaved at the end of the game, and we did it on the field with everybody. It was really cool. It made it a memorable night for everyone.
So you started your own company. Tell me a little about Daqua. What does it mean, first of all, and what do you do?
So what we do is, if people are familiar with Open Table, it's the same concept for the marine industry. So we like to joke that the marine industry is similar to the restaurant industry in 1998. It's about the same timeline. They were running on pen and paper and notebook systems. So we built software that allows the customer to connect directly. And I joke often that there's not many startups that make sense in Newport, Rhode Island, but this is one that coincides quite well with the market. But Daqua stands for, originally, The reason was Float.com, the owner of Float.com wanted $100,000 for the domain, and I didn't have anywhere near that amount of capital. So we were kicking ideas around, and we said, okay, we could come up with DOCL, which was Doc with All, and it was $9.99 on GoDaddy, so that made a much more effective purchase at that time.
A pretty good investment, if
There
I
you
do
go.
say so. So, Mike, when you look back, to kind of wrap things up, but when you look back on your experience here in Newport, what are you going to remember most about your playing days? And then now you're living here in Newport, you got a company here. What are some of the things you're going to remember the most about your
the
playing
people.
experience here?
The people. From my host family, which is now my second family, which they brought me in as one of their own, to Chuck, Mark, Chris, Greg, and Ronnie across the board. It's just, it opened up doors and opportunities for me that I never would have conceived when I came here as a sophomore. I wish, we were joking before we came on here, that I wish Coombs was here.
Yeah.
I think people don't realize his style of management and the impact that he has on players. Summer baseball in particular is a reprieve for a lot of guys. And what I mean by that is, in high school baseball, you're playing for the love of the game. It's a lot of fun. And when you go to college, it becomes much more rigorous and structured. And you really get into a routine, but there's a lot of pluses and minuses to college baseball. And when you come here for the summer, the last thing you want is a dictator of a manager. And I don't think anybody in the country could embody the opposite of that more than Mike Coombs. And he really lets guys be themselves and really get out on the field and enjoy the game again. So, his latitude with the players and, most importantly, the care that he had for us, coupled with the people in this town, are things that I'll never forget.
So, Mike Melillo, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It's great to see you again.
You as well.
So there you have it, Mike Melillo. We'll be back with more from the Newport Gulls 2016 Hall of Fame induction ceremony in just a moment on the Newport Gulls Broadcast Network. And we're back here at the Newport Gulls 2016 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'm joined by one of my favorite people in the Gulls organization, the longtime scoreboard operator at Cardines Field, Al Wiseman. Al, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure being here.
What was that moment like when you found out that you were being inducted to the Hall of Fame? What did that mean to you?
I was ecstatic since I never played ball for the Gulls, but just being in that category, it's been more than I ever thought of.
How did you get started with the team? You joined in 2001. You started operating the scoreboard. What was that process like? How did you get started with the Gulls?
Well, it was a situation where my son Larry played basketball with Chuck and Chris at the YMCA, and Chuck asked Larry if he wanted to volunteer, but due to Larry's job commitments, he wasn't around that much. So he said maybe my dad would like to. I said, oh, okay. So I got a call from Chuck, and I said, sure, that'd be terrific.
Did you think 15 years, 16 years later, you'd still be doing it?
I never gave that a thought. All I wanted to do was do the best job I possibly could, and each season it went on, and I enjoyed it more,
What's the most challenging part of running the scoreboard? Because there must have been one point where things got a little haywire. What was maybe the most chaotic or challenging experience you had running the scoreboard?
Well, at times during the years, it didn't function the way we wanted it to. Mm-hmm. It would lose, things would just appear on the scoreboard that we didn't put in, and people would get, where did that come from, And sometimes it was fixable, and other times it wasn't, so, but once you get used to doing it, it was all natural, it was fun, and you just had to concentrate on the board itself,
So what's your favorite memory of your time with the Gulls when you look back on the last 15 plus years now of Newport Gulls baseball? What's something that stands out to you the most that you look back on and say, that was really special, I was glad to be a part of that?
It was the very, very first game. Mm-hmm. And it was the very, very first game that the Gulls played at Cardines. And it was a half hour before the very first gate opened. And Chuck and I were standing on the 6th row behind the screen. And we were standing together, and we were just wondering what was going to happen. How would this work? Well, as soon as the gates opened, we knew exactly what was going to happen. It was fabulous.
Absolutely. Al, congratulations
Thank you
on your
very much.
induction here tonight.
Pleasure.
Tremendous honor to talk to you.
Thank you.
So there you have it, Al Wiseman, our final inductee here in the Newport Gulls 2016 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We'll have more coming up in just a moment. We have the silent auction. We have our special tribute video presentations as well. So a lot more on the way when we come back next on the Newport Gulls Broadcast Network. And we're back here at the Newport Gulls 2016 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We're joined by a very special guest, the 2016 NECBL MVP, Most Valuable Player, Troy Dixon. Troy, first of all, congratulations on a great summer with the Newport Gulls.
Thank you. Thank you.
What do you remember most about this summer? Because you sort of had an unusual path to the Gulls.
Right.
How did you end up in Newport in the first place?
I mean, I was, hoping to get drafted. Some things just didn't work out, but I needed a place to play summer ball. I called Chuck, and it was just a great summer. He took me in, and just coming to the ballpark every day. The atmosphere in Newport's amazing, and it was just a great summer.
What do you remember most about your experience here in Newport over the last year?
I mean, I had a great host family, so it was always good going to the beach with them, off the field things, going to downtown Newport, going to the beach. It was just a great town, and I like coming back to Newport. It's fun.
You had a fantastic season at the plate, obviously, but I want to focus on maybe some of the challenges associated with being a catcher. You have to come in, you have to learn all the pitchers.
Right.
So how challenging was that to balance at the plate offensively with handling a pitching staff too, coming in the middle of the year?
Yeah, no, it's difficult. You got some of the best pitchers in the country on Newport, from the SEC, West Coast, everywhere. They got good stuff. It's hard to find out what pitches they got and what they throw and what they like to throw in certain counts, and you got to obviously hit with that. So it was definitely difficult, but you got great pitchers, so it makes it easy for me.
What was it like to play for Al Leyva, who's the manager for the Gulls, and he's a real classic players manager. He really just kind of lets you handle your business on your own. What was that like for you?
Oh, it was great. Al was great. He was just very relaxed. Very relaxed. He's a California guy. Always was talking to us. Always, helping us out, giving us good advice. It was good.
What's the strongest aspect of your game, if you had to look at it right now? What's your biggest strength, and maybe what's one of your weaknesses you're working on?
I think a big strength of mine is my leadership. I've worked on that my 4 years of college, especially being a catcher. Managing the game, being a leader out there. Weakness, I'm not too sure.
I like it. Confidence. That's the way to be.
I'm not too sure about that one. We'll let other people decide on that one.
So St. John's, you're coming up. This is your final year coming up with the Red Storm. So what are your expectations for your senior year?
I want to win a Big East tournament like I did my sophomore year. Get to a regional, win that regional. St. John's is a big program. We brought in some good pitchers, great position players. It should be a fun year.
Absolutely. Troy, congratulations on the MVP. Best of luck coming up this spring with St. John's.
Thank you.
So you have it, the 2016 NECBL MVP, Troy Dixon, joining us here on the Newport Gulls Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We'll be back with more in just a moment on the Newport Gulls Broadcast Network.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be getting the program started in just a few moments. Hello, everybody. I'm Nick Lima, Director of Broadcast Operations for the Newport Gulls. And to officially get tonight's program underway, our 2016 Hall of Fame induction ceremony, it is my distinct pleasure to announce the 2014 inductee of the Hall, our esteemed public address announcer, Mr. Donald O'Hanley.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Cardines Field, Outremer. I'm going to keep this very brief, but I must say, in 72 years of following baseball, I have never derived more enjoyment than my association with the Newport Gulls organization. The people, you're wonderful. And one little footnote, I'll be appearing on the screen making some supposedly off-the-cuff remarks about tonight's inductees. And I put Mike Melillo in Elon University in South Carolina. Terrible error. They're in North Carolina. So with that, thanks for listening, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you all in 2017. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's hear it one more time for our 2014 Hall of Famer, Don O'Hanley. Ladies and gentlemen, our Gulls family members are going to induct 6 new members into the 4th class here tonight. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to you our Master of Ceremonies for the evening, Newport Gulls President and General Manager, Chuck Bava.
You know, back in 2001 when we started these team, I didn't have these glasses. Now I need them. Wow. It gives me great pleasure tonight, ladies and gentlemen, folks, fans, host families, everybody that's here tonight, to get this 2016 Hall of Fame induction ceremony started. It amazes me, it truly amazes me, every time we have one of these, how they come together. Only about 2 weeks ago, we had about 100 people signed up to come to this because, like everything that we do, we were kind of late getting to the dance, so to speak. And look at this turnout tonight. Truly amazing. And to me, it shows the family that we've created here over 16 years of running this crazy baseball team that we started in 2001. And we're pretty lucky because we created something pretty special, not only on a local basis, on a community basis, but on a national basis. The Gulls are recognized today around the USA as the premier organization in all of summer college baseball. And I say that, maybe I'm a little biased, but I'm not far off. And it really is a tribute to everybody in this room. When I look around this room today, I look at all the different people who have helped get this organization started from day one. And here it is 16 years later, and we still have that same passion in this room. People who care about what we do, they care about the Newport Gulls, they want to help us be successful, and it's a tribute to really all of you. So to me, the applause needs to go to everybody that's sitting out here today, of course, what these young men will address later. But give you all, please give yourself a hand first. So I sat in my office for quite a while trying to think about some of the things that I wanted to talk about briefly, and you know I can talk. A couple themes came to mind about tonight as I thought about this group of young men who are inducting tonight, and all of you out there who are participating in this great event. And to me, it always comes back to what I've always said about the Newport Gulls, is we're a family. We truly are. I'm going to get emotional. Maybe I'll start crying a little bit. I get a little emotional once in a while, but once in a while, I love to hug. So, I think about family, honestly, because really, it's about all of us together have built something pretty special here. And when I think about how the players have come and gone out throughout the years, the host families, the sponsors, the volunteers, and all the great people who've helped build this organization, it truly has become a family event. And now when we look back, there's people in this room today that helped me get this started in 2001, and they're back here. It's amazing to me that we get so much help from so many people. And I'm just blessed. I feel so honored that you all support this great organization that we've started here. The other thing that comes to mind today is relationships. Like everything in life, whether you're in business, in your personal life, you have successes based on relationships. If you're a good person, you're going to attract good people. If you're a bad person, you're going to attract bad people. But this organization has done nothing but attract great people. It's the relationships that we have together. When I look around this room, and it's kind of like a crazy web. We're going to talk a little bit about this. So many of you are intertwined with this organization some way, from somebody you knew or somebody you're related to, and these guys included that are sitting up here today. When I really look at the crazy web we've established around this country, and seeing how it all works and how it has affected every human life in this community, whether you're a kid that goes to summer camp and in 2004 and now in 2012, you're going to the same school that these guys are going to, and the relationships that we have helped build. So I'm going to touch on that a little bit. You're going to hear that theme over the night. Family, relationships, tradition. We've built a great tradition here. Our tradition started with these two young men. 2001, I didn't know what I was doing. Chris Patsos and I got together at Mudville with the guys who wanted to bring this team to Newport on November 20th. And they said, hey, we'd like you to help us run our baseball team. Are you interested? Oh yeah, sounds good. General manager, yeah, what's that, a couple months? Yeah, I can do that. No. Chris Patsos, we have to live this thing 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, and it's been 16 years already. Crazy. But again, we've built a successful tradition here. The tradition starts with all of you. You've all festered this, you've helped feed it, you helped grow it, and now it's this beautiful flower now, but it started with these two guys. They started tradition for us. They came into Newport. Again, we weren't really sure what we were doing, but these are two outstanding men and outstanding baseball players, and they set the tone for the rest of the guys that came in. 2002, what did they do? They won again. Holy cow. Now they made it worse for 2003. When that team lost, it was like, you're a failure. But it had nothing to do with winning, because we were building something really special here. 04, that team should have won the whole thing, but Mike had to come back and do it in 05. You know, 06, that team was the best team in probably the history of the NECBL. They won the most games in the history of the NECBL, 32 games. They didn't win the championship, they got knocked out. Petey came back in 07, 08, fighting for that championship. He didn't get it, but he wasn't giving up. He came back in 09 and won it. Amazing. Mike Melillo, 2008, came here, had the best season of his career. 2009, he came back a little bit upset, and we'll talk about that, but he figured it out and put us on his back and won another championship. So I think about the tradition that all these guys started. I'm very grateful, and as we all are, we've come out with this theme. I don't know, I'm an old guy, okay? Hashtags, I had no clue what that meant. I used to ask my kids all the time, what's a hashtag? What's a hashtag? What does that mean? How come people do that? But now we have what's called the hashtag, the goals fly together. And it really is meaningful. It's crazy how the kids that come in today, they feel it's their obligation, their responsibility, they're part of this whole crazy legacy that we've started, that they're obligated to do what these guys have done because they feel it. Interestingly, this year's team, pretty talented group of kids. We ran into a little struggle, but the only thing that was important to them as we were playing the season was getting to 25 wins. Because that's the tradition these guys started. 02, same thing. Every team that we've had here has won at least 25 games. So now that's that conversation that Patsos and I have. He's meaner than I am. We sit in a meeting with all the kids when they first get here, and we talk about the tradition we've started, and we tell them, don't forget, fellas, 25 wins will get you a good playoff position. You might get home field advantage, fellas. That's the number you want to get to. That's the standard of the Newport Gulls. And they all look at me like, yeah, sure, Chuck. And then Patsos gets up and he starts screaming at them, starts throwing rings at them, and they start to understand that it's meaningful for them. So this year's team, they get to 24 wins, and they're trying to get the 25th win, 25th win. They lost a couple games. That last game of the year, when they won that 25, they had that 25th win, it was like the pressure was off their backs. They were like, the first thing they said to me, we got 25, we got 25. But it's great because all these guys here have set the tradition for what it means to be a Newport Gull. And we're pretty honored to have that respect around the league, around the country. That's why their coaches and coaches today want to send us their best players. So I'm proud tonight for these guys. I'm proud for all of us together. We built something pretty special here. And I'm really grateful to everyone in this room for making it all happen. Thank you. Okay. I need to acknowledge a few people here tonight. First of all, the people that helped put this thing together. You know, I've been traveling a lot lately. We're all busy, but these the people that run this organization, they're so passionate. They really care. They care as much as we do, and that's important. When I think about the people who helped put this together, it's Mike Falcone. Mike, where are you, Michael? Michael's a Salve Regina University student. He graduated. He worked with us as an intern, but he said, listen, I want to come back and help you run that Hall of Fame. He's been in the office every day for the last couple of months. Mike, thank you for your passion. Our media director and operations people, Tom Lima, look at this setup he has over there. By the way, this is going to be broadcast on YouTube. You get an opportunity to see this. This is big league production, folks. Our production team in the NECBL is considered the best in the country. We have the most views. We have five cameras. We have graphics. These guys do slow motion. So if you're ever at home watching a Gulls game, it's high definition now. You on your computer, you could be anywhere in the world and you could watch it. These guys didn't have, I mean, they're ancient. You had audio back then, right, fellas? Yeah, I think they had audio back then, and that was it. Somewhere in the middle with Mike, he started to transition from high def auto and maybe a little TV action. And then we got these older guys, or younger guys over here. They were the benefit of some high def, pretty good production stuff. So, you know, things have really evolved. But it's because of that media team that we've had. You know, a lot of you don't know this, but they started out as high school kids. They showed up in my office in 2002 or thereabouts, 3. They were 14 years old from Tiverton High School. Nick Lima, we want to broadcast your games. Are you kidding me? How old are you? You're 14. You want to broadcast our games? Okay, we were pretty desperate. All right, you guys can do it. They went from being the voice of the Gulls to developing this tremendous media package that they've done. Guys like George Bissell's been with us forever. And I just want to recognize, I'm getting carried away here, Tom Lima, Shannon Carlson, outstanding 2 Gulls, committed to what we do. You put us on the map. Thank you so much for your contribution. For this event, we've had great advisors. We've had people help us put this together for us, and 2 always come to mind. They've been so loyal. One of them is Christine Hendrickson from Salve. She's been our public relations director since 2004, thereabouts, and you're still doing it. Thank you, Christine. Johanna, I'm going to pronounce her last name right, Mansivillano, Salve Regina University. Joanna, thank you so much for your help. Salve has always donated some of this equipment that we are able to project all these great videos. So let's thank Salve Regina for their contribution. Great partner, by the way. And most of all, I'd like to thank tonight, especially tonight, is my man Nick Lima. Where are you, Nick? Where are you? I can take my glasses off. Oh, there you are, Nick. He's the guy who showed up in my office when he was 14. You see how skinny he was? That's a long time ago. But you know something, folks? He cares. He is so passionate about this baseball team. I can't even get mad at him when I try to. And I try to. I try to get mad at him. He doesn't let me because he's so passionate. Nick, thank you so much for what you do, my man. Okay. Just a quick thank to, you know, the people that I work with to pull this all together, of course, our Gulls group, starting with Mark Horn, of course. So lucky to have you, Mark, as a partner and a friend. Greg Fader can't be here tonight. Greg's in Italy. He sends his wishes, best wishes to everybody. He's a great partner, loves what the Gulls do, great community guy. Ron Westmoreland, another great community guy. Happened to go to college with Mark and I. And Jerry Melillo was also here tonight. We'll talk about that. But, you know, Ronnie has done so much for us, very passionate, very grateful for what he's done. And then, of course, my alter ego, Chris Patsos. We'll talk about that in a little while when I introduce him. But there's nobody better at what he does and what he does for this team and what he does for the community and what he does for kids. He's a special dude, Chris Patsos. All right, we have some other people I want to recognize. I'm not sure if she was able to make it, but I know our Rhode Island Senate President sent in a donation tonight for some seats, and I'd like to thank Teresa Paiva-Weed. Best of luck in her election coming up. Let's give her a hand. She's a wonderful advocate for us, does some great things. This isn't a political message. This is a personal message. She does great things. She does great things for us. And we started that Mark Weed Foundation when her husband passed away. In his obituaries, folks, he said, I want donations made to the Newport Gulls so they will send kids to summer camp in my name. That is still one of the premier nights that we have every summer. I can't tell you how many, we send a lot of kids to summer camp in his name, but that whole thing is just, it runs itself, and it's a meaningful night. And again, that's because of her. Thank you, Teresa. And of course, to Mark. I'd like to recognize our friends. Listen, this is not possible without our relationship with the city of Newport. And I'm talking about the people who run the city. Over the years, we've had many of them. We've had some of the city managers actually volunteer with us. We've had people in the administration be a host family. I look back on all those people, and I'm so grateful. But tonight, I want to recognize two people who are here tonight. There was three people, but I'm not sure if Lynn was able to make it. But I want to recognize tonight our mayor, Jean Marie Napolitano. Let's give her a big hand for her support. Thank you, Mayor, for your support. We do great things, and you allow us to do that right here in Newport. Thank you. And Marco Camacho. Marco, thank you, another city councilor who supports the Newport Gulls. I told you how this thing is all intertwined, right, like a web. I was managing property back in 2087, somewhere around there. And Marco was this little guy who used to come to my office all the time with his dad. I had no clue who he was. I mean, of course, I got to know him. He was little Marco. But now he's a counselor. He's served our country in the military. He's a great advocate. Thank you again, Marco. And Lynn Selecki, I don't think she was able to make it, but I'll mention her name tonight. Best of luck in the upcoming elections. I'd like to also introduce a very good friend of the Gulls, Middletown Councilor Rick Lombardi. Where's Ricky? Ricky, thank you so much for your passion for the Newport Gulls. Let's see, I got two Hall of Famers here. Donnie O'Hanley, who just introduced us. Don, say hello again one more time. We have Rick McGowan here, the guy who put us on the map with the Newport Daily News. Rick, thank you for all you've done for this ball club. I have another special friend. Briefly. Nothing's brief with me, by the way. Special friend, Ryan Westmoreland, right here. Perhaps the greatest baseball player to ever play in the state of Rhode Island. Rye Dog, you've been an inspiration to me since you were a little kid, and you're more inspiration to me today as an adult. Thank you, Ryan. We have a couple of NECBL colleagues here tonight. I have my good friend. He's the owner and general manager of the Ocean State Waves. Let's give Matt Finlayson and his fiancée, Amy, a big hand. Matt, you're a tough adversary. You do a great job over there at Ocean State. It's great having you here. And also, Dave Dittman. Where's Mr. Dittman? Is he in the room? Stand up, sir. Dave Dittman owned the Newport Gulls in 2002. We bought it from him. And since then, he's probably put together 4 or 5 franchises in our league. In the last one, him and Chris Patsos teamed up together to pull together the Plymouth Pilgrims. And it's because of these 2 guys. Thank you. Sponsors, we have a lot of sponsors here. I'm not going to have a chance to mention you all. You know who you are. Look at that donation room in there, that auction item room. Impressive. All the people who want to help us, all the people who bought seats and even couldn't come tonight. They said, hey, listen, I want to buy some seats for that event. Fill them. This is great. Sponsors is our lifeblood. Nothing happens without sponsors. We're grateful. Our success is because we have great sponsors. Thank you all. If you're a sponsor here tonight, thank you for your help. Volunteers. We've had so many volunteers since 2001. Volunteers, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor right now. Anybody who volunteered for the Gulls, doing whatever you did, whether you were ripped a ticket one night, I want you to stand up just for a second. Look, I want you to see this. Come on, there's a lot of you in this room. I know it. I see it. Look at this. The people who've done stuff for us over the years, it doesn't happen without all you. Thank you, volunteers. It's truly what it is. You're a volunteer. No one gets paid. Unbelievable. Thank you. Interns. Interns become something that we've developed over the years. Our early years, we had none. Somewhere in the middle, we had a few. And now it's like our players. We have 20 interns that come in every summer to hone their skills like these baseball players do. And it's really developed into a serious program. We've had a lot of success. A lot of our interns have gone on to professional careers. And we have a couple here tonight, and I want to recognize them. If you were an intern, stand up for just 1 second, please. There you go. There you go. Grace, stand up, Grace. Okay. 2 come to mind. B.J. Pavanka, over here. Salva Regina student. He left us, got his law degree at UConn, and he's doing great as an agent for players, and he's doing some great work. B.J. is passionate about the Gulls. He said no one should have fun except for him. But we love you, B.J. And Grace. Grace. She was our intern, worked in the souvenir room, was a host family, grew up since this high. She became an intern, took over the Chris Patsos stole her, brought her up to Plymouth, and he made her run that organization for 2 summers, did an outstanding job, and now she works for the Pawtucket Red Sox. Congratulations, Grace. Nothing you do surprises me. And of course, Mike Falcone. Fans, we got great fans. One called me the other day, and I'm just going to bring this up. Is Gail Bailey here? Where's Bailey? Where is she? She here? There she is. Stand up for a second. She said to me the other day, and I'm not going to throw her under the bus here because I love you, Gail, but I'm going to throw you under the bus. She said to me the other day, she goes, Chuck, my 2 friends that I always come to the event with can't come this year, so I'm not really sure if I can come. I said, Gail, you're part of our family. You've been coming to these events since we started them. You come to all the Gulls game. You're going to know everybody in the room. After I was done with her, she came. Gail, you're a big fan. Thank you so much. I have a couple other people I'm going to mention. Billy Hetland. Billy. He's been a fan since our early days. You know who takes our kids back and forth from the airport all the time? Not Chuck. Once in a while it's my kids. But Mr. Hetland has a business called Moonlight Limousine, and he's been shuffling our players back and forth from the airlines since the beginning days. And these guys weren't lucky enough because Billy didn't have his limo company back then. So they had to walk. But Billy's been picking guys up from Boston, whatever. He gives coaches cars for the summer. You're a big fan. Thank you so much, Billy. I have somebody else that come to mind. Karen and Alan Toddy, they're here somewhere. Where are you? There they are in the back. They've been coming to this thing forever. Their daughter used to come to Cardine. She was about this high. and now she's in college. It kills me, Alan. You're getting old. Holy cow. But another fan that comes to all the games. Again, you're passionate. Thank you. What I'm trying to say here, everybody, is there's a lot of facets that bring this thing all together, and you're a fan, and you're a very important part of our success. Thank you. Hey, there's a reason why our fan base, we have the best attendance in the NECBL for the last 6 or 7 years. We're nationally rated every year. I know everybody doesn't believe my numbers, but they're true. You can't tell me I don't know how many people are in the stands. I know, all right? So if I tell you there's 2,560, there's 2,560. Right? Peter Olofsson, where are you, Peter? Peter knows. All right. I have another special guest I want to recognize tonight. You all remember in about 2007 and 2008, we had this group of Irish people come to Cardines Field. No, it was 2000, I'll tell you, 2007. Seven. We had a third baseman by the name of Brad French from Vanderbilt. He wore number 16. And then these group of guys showed up at a game. They're sitting out in left field or by the third base side, and they're yelling and yelling. I can't even hear them. I don't know what they're saying. And they started yelling 16, 16, because that was their favorite soccer player. And then they came up with it. Then they started coming again, every game. I was like, what's going on here? And then it went from like 5, 6, 10, 12, 20, 30. And then it started to get scary because there was a lot of them, all Irish, screaming Gull stuff. They became friends with everybody in this room. If you couldn't love these guys, they were great kids. They were like us. They were like these guys. They were great guys. And one of the original Irish boys are here tonight. Andy Medden, stand up, my man! And you know that wonderful media guide that we do every year? He designs it. Andy, thank you so much. And I know Killian and Mac are home watching right now and wish they could be here with us. Hey, here's a quick one for you. I got a lot of quick ones. Hey, Joanne, I'll make it quick. Hey, we went up to North Adams, playoff game. All right? I think it's 07 or 08. We had 3 fan buses go up that we set up after the team. So one's just for the Irish guys and the guys I don't want to sit with. I didn't see that bus. But 3 buses go up. We come down that mountain like Whoville and North Adams, and there's the town, and we just started coming down the hill, and it starts pouring buckets. We get to the field, and they didn't put the tarp on the field. They didn't get it on time, so the game was canceled. All 4 buses were there. We just got there. So we had to go back and come back up the next night. Well, the Irish guys weren't doing that. They said, we're staying here in North Adams, Chuck, okay? We're staying here. All right, guys. I felt like someone's father just lost their kid. There's 7 Irish kids sitting on the side of the road over there. They don't have anywhere to go. They probably don't have much money. And they don't know, in North Adams, I mean, what are you going to do there? You know? Then our boy, David Wamley, who loved the Gulls, and he's over there. He says, Chuck, I'm going to stay back with these guys to make sure they're okay. I said, all right, Dave, thanks a lot. Good luck. Well, they went to a bar. They befriended the bartender who owned the bar. She brought them out to their house, let them all have rooms, cooked breakfast in the morning, playing wiffle ball with them the next day, and they showed up at the game the next day. Amazingly, they were all alive. Really cool stuff. So anyway, Andy, you started that tradition, and it was pretty special memories, I know, for the guys that went through it. Thanks again. Okay. Okay, the next one is probably the most meaningful to me because it really is what I always have called the foundation of this organization. The foundation of this organization is from host families, okay? When I first started this team, Chris Patsos and I, one of the first tasks we had was to find people to put these kids in their houses. Oh, geez. Okay. So what do we do when you first get started? You go to people you know, your friends. Hey, listen, we're going to start this baseball team. We need some help. We need you to take a kid in your house, or kid in my house. You know, you had to convince all these people what we were trying to do here. And we were very lucky because some of you are in the room. And I look at Zach Yates right here. He was one of my first host families. He was with us for probably 10 or 12, 11 years. Him and his dad took in, it seemed like it was always a Lemoyne guy, right? From the first year, we had Chris Barlow and Eddie Harper. The next year, Eddie Harper. And then eventually, Mike Aquilino in 2003. 2004, he ended up with this knucklehead over here, Mike Afrani. In 2005, he came back again. But anyway, 2001, I look back at the host families in this room. There's ones from 2001 that helped get this thing started. There's a number. I think about the Gamashes. I'm not sure if they made it tonight. But anyway, they helped me get this started, and a few other people. I mean, just to recognize one guy that comes to mind. He passed away a year ago. Kurt Edge, host family forever, and grateful. But we've had so many people who've taken in our kids. The host family is our foundation. We have old and new ones. The relationships that are built from host families is incredible. My own life, my own kids. I probably have had, I don't want to count them, probably about 16, 17 kids live in my house since Billy Grazier started in 2001. And, you know, I kind of, as a father, I kind of think about, you know, what my kids had to go through every summer. They didn't have normal vacations. Their vacation was at Cardines Field because Dad had to be there and Mom had to be there. And my kids had to live through it. But today, still today, they tell me, and I know, that the boys that live in our house and all you guys who've influenced them have been their most influential people besides their parents. You've been great role models for kids around our community. Kids in this room today, I look at the Lynches, and remember those kids were so small. I have to look up to Aiden. That's not good. You know, but the tradition and the help that we've gotten from so many host families is truly incredible, the relationships. And I just made a few notes here. I think about your host family, Mike, when you first got here. I stuck him in with a Navy family, Susan Haig and Todd Haig. Susan was the commander. She was the public relations commander for the Navy admiral that was on the base at the time. And Todd was over there at the War College. They opened their door to Michael, and that was Mike's host family when he first got here. Billy Grazier, I didn't have a host family for him. So I asked him and his teammate, Jason Kane, they were both from St. John's. They had to stay at my house for a while. I didn't have space, so I stuck them over the garage. It wasn't finished yet. It was plywood on the floor, beams, hot. And I used to walk in there in the morning and see these two guys in there, and I felt so bad. I eventually found somebody who took them in. And she's a wonderful person. She lives in Florida today. Just great stuff. I look at, real quick, I look at Mike Afrani's host family. I talked about that. And I go over to Stevie Peterson. He was with the Lynches for 3 years. And Mike Melillo with the Burnses. And then we would talk about relationship. Mike finished his college career, went and played pro ball, and he says, you know something? I played pro ball. I'm okay. I want to go work in the real world. This is my drive. This is my motivation. So he went and worked for his host family. That whole influence, and you think about what Mike's done in our community since he's been here, their son now goes to Elon. Grace, never heard of Elon in her life. She went to Elon, and I know that there's some familiarity because of Mike Melillo. Mike also has been giving hitting lessons to a young man that I coached since he was about this high. His name is Liam O'Regan. And he became a great hitter. I coached him in high school. Now he's at Elon doing great things. And that's all because of the relationships that get established through all of you and through these guys. It's pretty special. It's pretty special. Now, so we talk about that. And, you know, honestly, as host families, I couldn't do this without you. I have so many friends in this room. I ask you for a lot of favors. You've been great. Thank you for putting up with me. I'm just blessed. I'm blessed. Thank you. And this organization's blessed. Okay, move on to a couple coaches I want to recognize. Scott Virgilak, our manager, in 2009 when he won the championship for the Gulls, and we'll talk about how that happened, and his wife Donna. Thanks, Coach, for coming back. He's the head coach at Rhode Island College, and welcome home, Scotty. Okay, players. I talked to you earlier about goals fly together, and it's really become something that's going to have its own wings very soon. Mike Bergeron and Greg Fader both have flown out to Newport over the summer on their own time to make a presentation to our board, because these are goals who are very grateful. They see what we've started, so they want to keep this thing going. They want to start what's called a Gulls Baseball Alumni Association. They've done the groundwork for it. They probably have about, I'd say, 150 kind of contacts of older players that have played that have given us their information. And the whole theme is what I told you earlier, hashtag goals fly together. And and Mike was going to fly out here and make this presentation tonight, but his daughters have school vacation and that's where he needs to be. But anyway, goals fly together. It's all about, you know, it's a tradition that you guys have had. Host families, before I move on, it's very important to me. Please stand up. Everybody who's hosted a kid in this room over the years, whether it was one kid or not, a coach, really, please stand up. You're gonna see how powerful this is, guys. Really, please. Stand up just for a second. There's so many host families here. I have the O'Regans. Their son is playing for the Gulls next summer. I have Mark Powell. His son played for the Gulls this past summer. The Yangs, the Burnses, the Olofsons, everybody in this room, I'm just so blessed to have you guys support what we've started here. Thank you all. Where's those new families out there on that back table? So listen, folks, I want them to feel how passionate this crazy baseball team is. I think they feel it from me. But you know, when they look around the room, and I was talking to one of them earlier, our Navy family, Mike Rack and his wife Claire, and I've talked to him about how special this relationship has been for so many people. I mean, my family just went out to Seattle in August, and we had a chance to spend time with our host kids. So it really is truly special, folks. Thank you, host families. Players, stand up. Former Gulls that are in the room right now, stand up for a moment, please. Very cool. All right, real quick. We got Mark Powell from 2016 season right here. He's a Middletown resident, grew up, played his baseball here in Middletown, and his family was a host family for at least 6 years. Mark Powell, congratulations, you made it to the Gulls, and we're honored to have you here tonight. Mark was a middle infielder. We got Max Bierman over there, 2015 from Villanova University. Our first baseman, perhaps, one of the better defensive first basemen this league has ever seen. He'd save a run a game. Look at how long he is. And he could pitch. He got hit in the hand a couple days before the championship started, and it really hurt our club. But he was with us all the time. Max, welcome home, and thank you for all you've done. Hey, by the way, Max is going to law school here at Roger Williams University, so good best of luck to you, Max. Okay, I've got Jeff Malillo over here on the left. That's Mike's younger brother, by the way. Jeff played for us in 2012. That team was rated #1 in the country by Perfect Game at the end of the season. Those guys were pretty special. They just destroyed everybody. He was here also in 2011, had a good year, but 2012, he was a man amongst boys. He was the NECBL batting champion with a .404 batting average. He was the league's most improved player from the year before, the NECBL most improved player. He was the first team All-NECBLer And he made the first team all-summer college baseball for every player in the country that summer. You know what made him special? Was his heart. I'm just going off memory right now, but Jeff was always hurt, not hurt, he was tired in 2011. 2012, he had a little help, but he grinded through it. And by the end of 2012, he actually broke his foot. And I couldn't stop him from not playing. He didn't want to stop playing. And he barely could walk. So he wasn't going to be denied. We go out to Danbury for the championship game, and Jeff gets up. He hits a home run to left center field to win the game for us, basically. Going down the first baseline, he re-broke his foot again. He really barely can walk around the bases. When he made it home, his players picked him up, brought him in the dugout, and that's where he stayed the rest of the game. But that's the kind of player that Jeff was. Very tough. He was a leader. And let's give Jeff a big hand. So, I'm driving down to Cardines Field this summer. I'll make this quick, right? Driving down to Cardines Field this summer, I get in front of Dunkin' Donuts just before City Hall. My cell phone rings, and it's a number I don't recognize. Like, it happens a lot in the summer. So sometimes I answer, sometimes I don't. This time I said, I better answer. I don't know who it is. So I answered it, and hi, I'm Troy Dixon. I'm catcher at St. John's University, and I'm looking for a place to play. I went like, yeah, right, sure you are. Okay, I get a lot of these calls. Sure you are, Troy. Okay, all right, yeah. So what are you doing now, Troy? How come you're home? Well, I stayed home and waited for the draft. I'm a junior. I went out last summer. Do you play at St. John's? Yeah, I play. Okay, yeah, sure you do, Troy. All right, thank you. Nice talking to you. I'll talk to you later. We don't have a spot. Hung up the phone. Got down to Cardines Field. We had two catchers. Charlie Carpenter leads off the third inning thereabouts, running down the first baseline. I could see him. Oh, hammy. Pulled his hammy. Gets to first base, and he can't even walk off the field. And I'm sitting behind home plate going, he's done. Hammies don't heal that fast. He's done. I got to find another catcher. Where am I going to find another catcher? Holy cow. So I said, oh, that kid called me. That's right. Let's see if this kid's real. I'm behind home plate. I grab my phone out of the bag. Yeah, St. John's. There is a Troy Dixon on that team. Yeah, he does play. Yeah, he is pretty good. Yeah, I like him. So I started making calls. I called Patsos. We got to get on the phone. We're calling his coach. We're calling everybody. We got to get him activated that night so we can get up to Newport. So he's from New Jersey. So I got to find him a host family. I don't have one. I would have called some of you, but I leaned on you too many times. So I had to find a host family. Of course, I know he's from New Jersey, and I played that string. I said, well, I got a host family who's from New Jersey, and she's proud. She loves New Jersey, so I'm going to play this one. I text her. She was down in New Jersey. Hey, Nicole, I got this guy from New Jersey I'm going to sign, and he needs a place to live. He's pretty good. All right, let me take a look. She already had one. But let me see. I'll take a look. So it's like a little investigator. She did more work than I did. She calls me back and said, he went to this high school. He did this. I know his brother, his uncle, aunt, and uncle. And she goes, he can stay with me. So the next day, Troy Dixon came up to Newport, and here he is today. And I asked him, I'm telling you this story because I had no idea who he was. And he came up, and he was pretty damn good. And what he did also, and our team was a little stagnant at the time. We brought in this kid named Trey Harris from the Cape, who got released, and he brought some energy. And then we brought Troy. And Troy brought toughness to that team. He was tough. Caught for us, really good catch and receive guy. I was watching, I love his attitude. You know one thing he did before every game, Troy? He goes up, his first at bat every game. He's got his bat in his hand. He goes over to the umpire, hits him in the shin, hits the opposing catcher in the shin, gives him a little respect, and then he gets back in the box. I go, that's pretty impressive. That's pretty good. Well, he ended up being the MVP. So let me just tell you about Troy's summer. He's rated in the top 10 by all the publications of summer college baseball to be a Major League Baseball player. He's rated in the top 10 on every publication. He's won the batting championship at 371. He was he was voted the most valuable player in the league. In the playoffs, he hit 1,000. We were down in Danbury, I never forget this. Got a foul ball hit off the head. This kid's tough as nails. And when I saw him go down, he really was trying to like get back up. The next day I saw him at Cardi, he said, I can't play. I got a headache, I got all these things. He had a concussion, that's what it came down to. And he had a serious concussion. It bothered him for about a month and a half. But Troy, you came up here and you led our team, and you did an outstanding job. You were the MVP. Congratulations, Troy, and thanks for coming up tonight. Okay, what I'd like to do right now, really quick, is Nick has prepared, and Tom has prepared just a little quick review of 2016. So let's take a look at that, folks.
What brings you back here for another season here in the City by the Sea?
You know, these players, you can't get it out of your blood. Just the city. I mean, there's no better place to be in the summertime than Newport, Rhode Island.
I felt pretty amazing today. When I gave up a few hits here and there, my defense had my back, made some great plays. That relay into home saved a run for me.
Ranging back on it is Chatfield, and that ball is off the middle of the fence. Youngfield's it. The throw comes into Kaiser. They're waving him home. The relay throw to the plate, and out by a mile.
What's your favorite unique feature of this ballpark?
I would say probably the triangle out in center field. That makes the outfielders have to play the ball off that.
In the air towards center field. Ranging back is Brown. Is that ball carrying more than he thought? And it drops. Steven Scott's going to round second. He'll head for third. And he'll be in there easily.
What's your favorite thing about playing at Cardines?
Oh, the fans, definitely. I mean, everyone gets into the game, and it's just a lot of fun.
Pitch. Swinging a high drive. Right field deep. Way back. Way back. And you can forget about it. It's a walk-off grand slam.
Newport Gulls walk off here at Cardines Field as Scott sends that one deep into the night. A walk-off grand slam at Cardines Field.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
First pitch, hit in the air towards center field. Ranging back on it is Brown. He makes the catch, tagging from third is Scott. Here comes the throw to the plate. It's going to be not in time, and the Gulls win the ball game.
The 0-2 pitch. Ground ball bouncer towards the left side. Fielding and gets by the third baseman. Here comes one run to score. Running third, hitting home the throw to the plate is not in time. Newport Gulls walk off the win here on 4th of July at Cardines. 6-5 the final score. They mob Charlie Carpenter.
It's been great. I mean, the field's very interesting. The dugout's on the same side now. It feels crazy. And then, of course, the crowd's always exhilarating, keeps everyone going.
Rivera kicks, fires. It's swung on and hit in the air to left center field deep. Ramos going back, racing back to the wall, and it's going to be a 3-run homer. They have a 3-0 lead.
Fans here definitely give a lot more energy than anywhere else within the league.
As he's about to announce the total raised in the 50-50 raffle tonight in honor of John Malone Jr.
So, I can tell you right now, the total we raised tonight, due to all your support for Mr. Malone, is $1,856, folks. That's outstanding.
Steven Scott having quite a day here with his head coach here in town.
Your head coach, Tim Corbin, is here tonight. He was actually up there with us in the broadcast booth in the 4th inning when he hit the 2-run shot.
It feels great, to have 6 All-Stars. It seems like that's kind of traditional for the Gulls.
So here is Gabe Snyder from these Newport Gulls and the hometown favorite from the Gulls. He has 2 home runs with them, batting .314, and this one is way, way back, and it is gone. This one is very deep into the triangle. Will it carry out here? Yes.
Whoa, wow.
The longest part of the ballpark. Not anymore. Oh, this might be number 5. Oh, yeah. On the way. Sky right field. This might do it. Number 6. He beats Mikael Mogs by 11 home runs.
How are you feeling after that win?
pretty happy about it. I'm a little tired right now, but it felt good.
It's the NECBL with 8 home runs.
And there's a drive out towards center field deep. Back goes Holst to the fence. Looking up, it is gone. 2-run home run, Steven Scott. It is now 8-5. The Southern Division closing in.
It finishes 8-8 is the All-Star game score, the first time it's ever been a tie.
This pitch is ripped to the second baseman, Harris. Underhands to second, to the shortstop out there. Relay over to first, double play.
Klebart swings and drills one to center field. Coming in is Chatfield.
Hit on the ground, left side. One hop for the third baseman. Athene fires the second, out there. Relay to first, double play. Goddard twirls, fires over to first, and he's out. Brawl, 1-2. Comes up and in for ball 2. Throw down to second base. Plenty of time.
We're trying to get into that first place position, and it's going to be a tough route to get there.
I'm looking forward to the postseason. I definitely think we're starting to get hot as a team.
I'm
set the 2-2. Breaking ball, swinging a drive to deep right field. Ranging back on it is Blake. He looks up, and it is out of here. Stay hot, Steven Scott.
Out of this season so far, what's been the highlight for you?
You know what? For me, it's just been how these guys have just competed all year. So the character of this team has just been unbelievable.
What are you looking forward to tonight's game?
Winning, moving on to the next round.
A 2-2 pitch, swinging a drive to deep left field, and this ball is gone! And the crowd is going wild here at Cardines Field. Trey Harris.
Chop to Harris. Goes to second for one. On to first. In time, double play.
One pitch. Swinging a drive towards right. Ranging over is Scott. And he makes the catch. The Newport Gulls are heading to the Southern Division Championship game.
We dropped it last night, but we felt good about the way that we played. And the biggest thing is coming into the game with a lot of energy.
Extremely. I'm as proud as this team as any team I've had here ever.
It's tough to really just end it this way, but we played hard, we played the right way, and you can't feel bad about it.
It's just been incredible. It was just a dream.
Great experience. I don't know if you can get anywhere better than this.
I've had a lot of good memories, but probably the best was getting the save for the 25th win.
It's been a blast, especially with you calling the game, helping out, broadcasting a couple games with you. So it's been one heck of a summer.
However, the environment that Newport is able to build here is incredible, and the family that we're able to build with all the young men that came in here that had a lot of character, integrity. We will never give up. These young men will never give up.
We'll see you next year here at Cardines Field.
So just before we get started with our inductions here, I'd like to introduce my partner up here, and partner in crime. We are considered, this is a wonderful thing. You think the election is pretty bad right now. Chris Patsos and I are like a two-headed monster. He says one thing and I say the other. And this is what we've been doing about building these teams over the years. Often it has to be approved by both of us for us to select the players. So if we evaluate a guy, and I say, Chris, I like this guy for all these reasons. If Chris does his evaluation, he doesn't like him, we don't take him. And so we fight. And we've taken kids and not taken kids. In 2003, we had a discussion. We needed an outfielder. It was getting late. And he came to, I told him, hey, I got this guy from Temple, John Quigley. He's pretty good. His numbers are good. He's a junior. He goes, I got somebody. He's Wes Wackhammer. Wes Wackhammer from Tulane. From New Jersey kid, drafted late. Good player, Chuck, good player. I overruled him. I took John. So, first game, Wes Wackhammer signs with the Danbury Westerners. You know what's coming. He comes to Cardines for the first game. Patsos comes over to me and goes, hey, there's Wes Wackhammer. And I go, yeah, he looks pretty big, Chris. He looks good. He's got good BP. Well, it was about the 8th inning. He had a 3-run bomb that went over everything, and he beat us. And Patsos had a nice little smile he shared with me. But we do that a lot because it's hard. We think we got the right guy and they come back and beat us. But overall, we got these 5 right. Chris and I can go to an NECBL meeting. This is great. You're going to love this. We travel. We go to these NECBL convention meetings, our winter meetings. We go all over the country, and we have these meetings once a month. And Chris sits next to me. And, he's vocal, passionate, and I'm vocal and passionate. So we get onto an issue, and I'm sitting there, and I get up, and we're the same team. We drive up together, we drive home together. I get up and I get vocal and passionate about a point that I think we need to stand by, and then 2 minutes later, he puts his hand up, and he gets up, and he starts fighting me in front of everybody. And we go back and forth and go back and forth. We get in the car, and we laugh at each other, and we've done great things together. I love him to death. He's so knowledgeable about the game of baseball. He's an outstanding evaluator. He loves these kids. And I want to bring Chris up here just for a second, because he's got a few things to say. Come on up, Chris.
I won't talk that long, believe me. I don't need the glasses. I'm not looking at that little roster. You give me a roster, I can't even read it. So I'll just talk about a few players. I'll keep this fairly short, okay? Thank you very much, everybody, for coming tonight. First of all, Troy Dixon. So happy to see you when I came in tonight. MVP of the league last year, MVP of our team, my favorite player on last year's team, by far. Okay? Little story about how we got him. Chuck mentioned it briefly. Chuck called me in the office. I'm in the office, and he says, oh, this kid Troy Dixon called me, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm talking to him. I pull him up on the computer, boom, boom. 3-year starter, stud, captain, boom. Okay, Chuck's a pitcher. I was a catcher. I said, Chuck, you got to take that kid, okay? Just take him, right? So, in the meantime, called around a little bit, asked about Troy. This is why I loved him the best right here. Called a couple of kids who played against him. Said, how do you like Troy? How do you like this kid Dixon? Oh, that kid's a pain in the ass. Man, that kid's a ball. Man, that kid, I hated playing against him. Wow, what an ass. I said, great, my kind of guy, okay? That's why he's on this team. The type of guy you want to play with and you hate to play against, okay? That's the kind of guys we like to bring to Newport, guys who give it. Thanks, Troy, okay? MVP. Host families, A+. A+, okay? The lifeblood, like Chuck said, the lifeblood of this organization, hands down. I worked in Plymouth to do a team with the NECBL with David Dittman, my great friend and great buddy of ours. Unbelievable. Thank you, David. First thing I did was go down there and hire a host family coordinator. First thing. Lady called me up from Plymouth one day, said, I want to be a host family. I said, what are you doing tomorrow night? I'm coming down. Walked in her house. She said, I'll do it. Her husband's a cop, which was awesome too. Great combination, okay? For a lot of reasons, okay? And her husband goes, great. Another job you do for nothing, right? Oh, no, be a salesman than I am. Oh, no, this pays $300. Great, done deal. Had my host family coordinator, never had a problem again. Without her, oh my gosh. Wake up, you don't worry about the players. The players are easy to get, as Chuck will tell you. The host family, like a diamond in the rough, okay? So we do not take you for granted, okay? Believe me, we do not take you for granted. You guys are the best. Now volunteers, interns, and our ESPN4 crew, okay? Nick Leamer and the gang. Outstanding. Chuck mentioned a little bit about it. Yeah, they used to roll in the Cardines parking lot in an old Delta 88, pulling out of the back of that truck. Back of that trunk. 8 of them get out of the seats, and they have all that in the back, and they put it back in there every game. And they came back every game. The thing's smoking and blowing and stuff, and they're getting out. Nick knows nothing about baseball. Nothing. Nothing. He dresses to the T, okay? But he knows nothing about the game. I'm sitting with them, we're watching the game, and he's calling the game. I'm there. He said, yeah, there's a slider. And Nick, that's a fastball. Nick, just don't call the pitch over there. Or just let him know whether it's a strike or a ball until you learn, okay? So Nick's come a long way. Nick, one of the best things about Nicky boy, we had an all-star game up at Keene, and they had the broadcasters take batting practice. I said, Nick, no, just tell me you're not feeling good. Tell me you're not feeling good. Don't go out there. You're going to embarrass yourself. Never mind the Gulls. I want to give it a try, Chris. I want to give it a try. He's got his fedora on and his sports jacket. Give him the bat. I said, no, it goes this way, Nick. Okay? He gets up there. Tommy John was throwing to him, right? Tommy John, the Tommy John, right? Tommy John was going like, I can't even hit this kid's bat. I'm trying like hell. So Nick took about 5 embarrassing swings. I think he fouled one off. We got him out of there. But Nick, you have come a long way. And like Chuck said, thank you for all your help, all your dedication, your passion. Chuck's office is right next to mine. So Nick would go in and get lambasted by Chuck for 45 minutes, then come to my office for 10 minutes. I'd talk him and put him on the couch, talk him off the ledge, send him on his way. Next week, same thing. I'd walk in the office and all I hear is, oh shit, Nick must be here, right? Go in, Nick would come out, he'd walk by. Nick, everything okay? Nick, come on in here, Nick, come on in. Sit him down, he's great. He's learning a lot, okay? And he did very, very well this year, okay? So Nick, thank you, okay? And keep getting better. And Nick was great. Hey, and I was away all last week. Nick and Mike Falcone did a great job in this auction, okay? Outstanding. Mike is actually a caddy at Newport Country Club, too. And he was our caddy a couple weeks ago. We went out took some customers out there, and Mike happened to be their caddy, and so we took him out. We had a great time, but it was nice to see you then as well. But thanks for helping. You guys did an outstanding job putting this together, okay? You really did, okay? And Ryan Westmoreland, great to see you. Thank you for coming tonight, all right? A little bit about next year's team, a little about these guys, and I'm out of here. Next year's team, actually this year's team, Marky Powell. Great job, thank you. Powell family, outstanding. Next year, we have, so far we've signed, we have Liam O'Regan signed. Chuck mentioned that. Post family, Liam's on an Elon, gonna do a great job for us. Played for Plymouth last year. Went through the learning curve, is gonna be a great player for us this year. And then we have Liam McGill coming. Sean McGill was a player for us for 2 years. And Liam McGill was down here. Liam's 6'4", 220. So Liam's coming here next year. He's at Columbia. So another local kid we have coming here, so we're very excited about that. And then the rest of the team, we got a good team coming. Chuck and I, we really worked hard this year. We scrutinized a lot of the players very closely, and I think we're gonna have a really good team. We got a great pitching staff, a lot of guys drafted, a lot of local kids as well. Kids from New Haven, kids from Fairfield, kids from Brown. I look around here and look at these kids up here, all Hall of Famers, all champions, all from small schools, or Northeast schools. I see Billy from St. John's, and Mike from Pace, okay? Petey from, how many schools? What schools? Okay, Marist and URI. Marist, he came up from Coach Haley, sent him up here, okay, Marist. Mikey from Elon, a little bit of the exception, and Mike from Lemoyne, okay? A lot of smaller schools, local schools, okay? So we're gonna try to mix it up this year a little bit. Good blend of local kids, national kids, bring them together. Because honestly, Chuck will attest to this. Last few years it's been challenging with the kids coming up here, okay? These kids love to be Gulls. You guys love to support the Gulls. The kids the last 2 or 3 years, the kids are different now, okay? They maybe don't quite appreciate it as much as these other kids did, because they're in it for a little more for themselves now because of the way things are, and we see a little bit of difference there. So we're trying to get a little different kid, maybe a kid who really will embrace what we're doing a little bit more and not want to leave. You know, kids leaving is a big problem, so we didn't want kids to leave. So we worked hard at that this year. We're going to continue to work hard at that. So, okay, so we look forward to this year. And now quickly on these guys right here down the line. Billy Grazier, okay, one of the fastest Gulls we've ever had. Okay, came in here with Carmen Carcone, that group, great player. Mike Bolin, one of the strongest Gulls we've ever had. Okay, monster when he played here. He's now a strength and conditioning coach and doing very well. Petey, one of the longest tenured Gulls we've had. Would have played 4 years if they would have let him, okay? Okay? Loved having him around, loved having his family around. Mikey Melillo, one of my favorite Gulls ever, okay? One of my favorite Gulls. Love his family, love him. Did a great job for us, okay? And Mike Afrani, the most overachieving Gull I've ever seen in this organization in 15 years, okay? Overachiever is what he's all about. And he's very successful at what he's doing, and that does not surprise me. Okay? And then at the end is Easy Al Wiseman. Easy Al. I'll leave you with Easy Al. You'll see Easy Al around town, like this.
Thanks a lot, Chris. I love your passion. You're always hitting the nail right on the head, my man. Okay. Time to move on. Our Hall of Fame inductees, a few things that come to mind. We have 3 mics here. We got a Mike Bolander, we got a Mike Melillo, and a Mike Afrani, 3 mics. What do they all have in common, these guys? Chris mentioned it. I mentioned it earlier. They've all won championships while they were here in Newport. That's not the most important thing. I mean that. I like winning. I don't like losing. They know that. But it's not the most important thing. But these guys are winners. They've won championships. And, you know, I'm the beneficiary of these things. See this big ring I got on my finger? Look at that thing. It's so heavy. This is the last one. But I got 6 of them now. And I've got each one of these guys tonight. I brought them out of respect to them. I can't wear them all, fellas, but you guys gave me these rings, gave us the rings. You brought these rings home, these championships to Newport. They represent a lot. They represent a commitment. They represent competitiveness. They represent, you know, a will to win. And like I said earlier, it means a lot to them to be Gulls, and they know that. So this is what they've earned while they were here. Very special. They've all been able to compete at a high level. The other thing about these guys, they all led by example. You know, sometimes you don't have to be the most vocal, but you can lead by example. One guy that comes to mind, probably the biggest leader by example. I wouldn't say the biggest, because you're all leaders by example. There's no question. But Chris mentioned it earlier, Mike Afrani. Mike Afrani was a tough kid and led by example. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. And real quick, nothing's real quick with me. I owe it to these guys. I just want to go through, I asked them what their most fondest memories. Mike Bolander, he says, the memories, all the games slipped away. He says, the memories that do stick are the little things that we did as a team, like putting a fresh coat of green paint on the bleachers at Cardines Field for opening night. The clam chowder event, the Chowder Fest down at the Visitor Center downtown. And he's some interesting bus rides. And of course, he liked watching Billy Grazier steal bases all summer. So Billy says, besides watching Bo hit moonshots that landed in Providence, I'd have to say the night they won the championship. As a right fielder, I had the privilege of hanging with the crowd at Mudville. They were going bonkers the first inning, and the crowd was electric. There was no way we were losing that game. Mike Afrani. Sean McGill and I were coaching a team during one of the Gulls camps, and a young man, I don't recall his name, came up to the plate with the bases loaded in the bottom of the last inning. The kid had struggled all week. I don't think he had put the ball in play the entire game. But I remember how hard he worked and how happy he was just hanging around with the Gulls. Sure enough, the baseball god smiled down as we watched him take an 0-2 pitch over the left field wall for a walk-off grand slam. He said the whole camp erupted. McGill runs next to the kid, who I think was still at home plate in utter shock, and hoists him on his shoulders and runs around the bases with him. I have no idea if that kid ever played ball past Little League. And I'm sure he doesn't realize it, but that young man provided me with one of my most fondest baseball memories. Very cool. I got Mike Melillo, our trip to Boston. I don't know if I want to repeat this. The Cunningham kid lived at the Ings house, and it may have something to do with it. Our trip to Boston when the Red Sox played, and Cunningham passed out at the bar and got kicked out. I don't remember that. I wasn't there. And then he says the most special memory for him was watching Patsos lug a cooler up the Irish boys' stairs at 3:30 in the morning after winning a championship with no shirt on and screaming, and try to remove everyone's clothes on the deck. Holy cow, Chris, I didn't know about that. See, sometimes, you hear about these things when it's too late to act on them. Steven Peterson, his favorite memory was me letting him take home that Fay Vincent Championship Trophy Cup to his house after we won it. We were at O'Brien's Pub. We left there, and Petey goes, "Chuck, can I take this home with me?" 3 years he'd been fighting for that thing, and we said, "Sure, Petey, you take that home." And Petey, I saw some pictures up there with you in that cup earlier. So you did a good job. And then Al Wiseman. Al, it's funny because we were building this, I tried to build an organization, and I ran into Larry, his son, at the Y. We played hoops, me and Chris. And I said, "Larry, why don't you help out the Gulls? We need help, we need people." He goes, "Hey, my dad's retired, how about him?" "Well, who's your dad?" "Yeah, he's retired, great guy, blah, blah, blah." So I met him. He said he wanted to volunteer. He started coming to all the meetings, and his favorite memories are, number one, at the very first organization meeting at Salve Regina, he said, directed by myself, Al was listening, and all of a sudden, Al Wiseman was the scoreboard operator. That's how you got your first job, Al. And then number two, the very first Newport Gulls baseball game at Cardines Field, even before the gates opened, Chuck and I were standing on the 5th row behind the screen, excited about the beginning. Wow, Al, that's pretty special. You've been here a long time, my friend. You're older than me, buddy. Thank you for all you do, Al. Okay, now we got those behind us. All right, folks, it's time to induct our Hall of Famers. Let's get this show going. It's time. Okay. The first person that we're going to induct into our 2016 class is Mike Bolander from 2001. Mike was a left-handed hitting first baseman from Pace University. As I try to think, as I've done these, I try to think of one word that really represents each one of these guys. It's hard to do because it's not, almost sometimes it's not fair because they really embody a lot of different important characteristics. But when I think of Mike, I think of power, the word power. He was strong lower half, he had a big butt, he had huge legs. I think his pants, he couldn't wear a Gulls pants, he had to get his own because his legs were too big. They wouldn't fit in. Just look at the pictures of him. They looked like they were painted on. He was huge, he was physically stronger than anybody else. So he did an impressive BP, and his home runs were no doubt very strong. And Carmen Carcone was the guy in 2000, he was the coach of the Rhode Island Gulls. And when he came to Newport and he told me we were building this team with Chris, he told us about his first baseman that he wanted to bring back. I said, "Who's he?" "Mike Bolander. He's a big kid, strong, left-handed hitter. You're really gonna like him, Chuck." And I said, "Okay, Carmen, you're the manager, and if you believe in this guy, let's bring him in." And what did he do? He put on a show all summer long. He was scary, and he hit .325. He has a batting average of .325. He was number one in the NECBL with 10 home runs. He was number one with the Newport Gulls with 49 hits. He was number two in the NECBL in total bases. He was number 3 in the NECBL with RBIs with 29. His slugging percentage was a beastly .556. And he also, to this day, holds the NECBL record for the most intentional walks, because when he got on base and guys were in scoring position, everybody just said, let first base is open, let him go. Don't throw to him. And he was respected. He had the most power in the league, without question. He was also a 2001 division champion. He was a 2001 NECBL champion. He was the NECBL's most improved player. He was first team all-league. He was the NECBL All-Star, and also won the Home Run Derby in Manchester, Connecticut, in that canaverous field they had. I thought, no one's going to hit a home run here. Not Bo. Bo won it all and took that trophy home. Mike was drafted in the 27th round by the White Sox. He played 2 years for them. After 11 years at Pace University, where he went to school, he just recently took a new job. He's now the strength and conditioning guy with the Tampa Bay Rays. Mike Bolander, your time has come. You've set the precedent for our first base that we've had in this league. From when Mike came, we realized from that point, our first baseman, that's what they have to be modeled after. Mike, you set the tone. Let's welcome up here today Mike Bolander. Well, first of all, I'm going to stop for a second. I'm sorry, we have a little tribute video for Michael. Let's get this going. Mike Bolander came. You know, Carmen Carcone told me about Mike Bolander because he played for him the previous season up in Cranston. He told me he was his power first baseman, one of the stronger guys he's ever coached. And so I had a chance to actually see Mike Bolander for the very first time when they arrived here. And I looked at him and I thought, well, here's a pretty physical kid. I think my whole body was the size of one of his legs. But he was a strong kid, left-handed bat, and the more I watched him play, I could see how special he was and how powerful he was. Mike Bolander was perhaps the best power hitter in the league that summer. Really good player and very competitive. We were lucky to have Mike Bolander, and I could see why Carmen Carcone was so high on him. One thing that stands out about Mike Bolander was in the Home Run Derby in Manchester, Connecticut at the All-Star game. If you've ever seen Manchester, that field is canaverous. It's so big that it's hard to hit home runs out of there. I think they hit a total of 5 all season. So Mike Bolander was our entry into the home run contest, and Mike did an outstanding job for us.
Northwest Park, Manchester has the reputation as the toughest place to hit a home run in the New England Collegiate Baseball League. Well, that fact stayed true to form today as Mike Bolander of the Newport Gulls won the 2001 Home Run Derby with 2 home runs. Bolander, as we said, plays for Newport from Katona, New York, second in the league in home runs with a .304 batting average. And now let's take a look at how Mike won the Home Run Derby in 2001.
I'm here with Mike Bolander of the Newport Gulls, the 2001 NECBL Home Run Derby champion. How does it feel, Mike?
Feels great. Feels great.
You have any tips for kids out in TV land? Any batting tips for them?
Just lift a lot of weights and swing hard and up, I guess.
Mike Bolander, Big Mike from Pace University. That's the first year we had the team, was 2001, and Mike was our first baseman. Led the league with home runs, with 10, I believe, that year. He was the most improved player in the entire league, and Mike was just a hitter. He played for the team the previous year, 2000, when it was in Cranston, and then we inherited the team in 2001, and Mike was part of that team, and very big part of the championship team. Like I said, 10 home runs, a lot of RBIs, and just a big force in the middle of our lineup. And Mike was a pleasure to have on the team, a big, strong kid, and did very well for us, and appreciate that.
Enjoyed Mike. And I was happy to see him get a chance in professional baseball. Mike lived with a Navy family, the Hagues, who, again, our first year in the league, in our first year as an operation, so we were
hunting for host families. And a Navy family, 2 officers decided they would host a player, and Mike stayed with them. They loved having him. Mike enjoyed staying with them, I'm sure. So I think that what I remember about Mike during that time off the field was he was a great teammate, good goal, and his host family really enjoyed him as well. Mike, your Hall of Fame induction is overdue as well. You were the start of what we call power hitters in the NECBL, and you set the tone for every first baseman we've taken after you. So thanks, Mike, for being a great goal and showing us the way. You're the reason why we continue to be very good, especially at that position. Thanks, Mike.
Okay, folks, let's welcome and let's give a big hand to Mike Bolander.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody in the Gulls organization for putting this together tonight. I was hoping I didn't have to go first so I could hear everybody else's speech. First and foremost, I have to thank my family for coming. My Uncle Steve, my mother Jean, my father Bruce, my brother Rick, my brother Ryder, and his girlfriend Nancy. Thank you for coming. I appreciate everything. I don't think, I'm not sure my baseball career would have gotten this far without the help of my father. Just, constant BP, and I'm not sure many kids have a batting cage in their backyard growing up, so that was definitely a big plus in getting me going. I think going through all the old memories and the videos and the pictures from that summer, from 2001, was that long ago. 16 years? 16 years. Definitely an old man at this point, but it kind of rekindled some of that happiness, that joy that I got from playing. I think any baseball player in the room here, you're eventually at a point you're told, your career is over. Whether it's pro ball, whether it's college, whether it's summer ball, and sometimes that leaves a bitter taste. So I think I had a love-hate with baseball when I was playing, but when I got done, I think you walk away from the game and it didn't end the way you had pictured it. You're a little bit bitter, and you walk away a little bit bitter. But with things like this, and a Hall of Fame induction like this, and an organization like the Gulls, you get to look back and really kind of reminisce, and you think about the good times that you had and the great people that you met. My teammate Billy, congratulations tonight. Probably the fastest guy I've ever seen. But this is the first time I've seen him, since that summer. So I think above all else, it's the relationships that you make playing, that you carry with you. I forget game scores, I forget game scenarios, even home runs I forget. But it's the relationships that I've made, the people that I've met and worked with that have kind of carried me, and I'm able to kind of look back now and be happy about it, and just be appreciative of especially that time, that summer, because baseball's a frustrating game. One day you're on top of the world, the next day you really have no clue, and it's funny that way. But that summer, it was like every day I was locked in, and it was fun. It was almost like the entire team had a chip on our shoulder, and we went out there and just wanted to prove ourselves. And it was our first year in Newport, and coming back, and I was here for the reunion weekend, which was great, and just seeing the former players and seeing the players that came after us and the success that they've had. I've really thoroughly enjoyed checking the scores and checking to see how they're doing, playoffs, results, everything, because it definitely left a mark. This city, this organization, everything about it left a mark on me, and I'm just proud to have been a small part of one of the championship teams. So thank you very much.
See, the other thing Mike didn't mention, he played for the championship in 2000. They lost to the Keene Swamp Bats by a run. I think the pitcher that pitched for his team, Henderson, had a no-hitter going until about the 8th or 9th inning of that game, and you guys lost 2-1. So when he came back in 2001, he was on a mission to win it here, and he did. Outstanding. Okay. Our next inductee is Billy Grazier, 2001. He was a right-handed hitting outfielder from St. John's University. That one word that comes to mind with Billy Grazier is speed. Billy had great speed and was what we call in baseball a toolsy player. He could hit. What is a toolsy player? It means he has a lot of baseball tools, not tools in his toolbox. But he's a toolsy player. That means he could hit. He was a great defender in right field. He had a plus arm, probably one of the strongest arms we've ever had here in Newport. He had pop in his bat, meaning he could hit for power. But he could really run. He had great base running instincts. The great base stealers of all time. We probably have had guys faster than him, like I'm talking about in the 60-yard dash perhaps, but no one could steal bases like Billy Grazier. Carmen told me about him. Chris did his backup work on him. He came with his teammate Jason Kane, another left-handed hitting third baseman who could really hit. And that summer, Billy Grazier hit .341. First in our team, he was third in the NECBL. He had 47 hits, second on our team. He had 29 walks, third in the NECBL. He had 10 doubles. He was number 2 in the NECBL in on-base percentage with a .468 on-base percentage, which is extremely high. He had 32 for 35 stolen bases in 36 games. And that's still, his 32 steals are still a Newport Gulls record. He won a division championship. He won an NECBL championship. He was named All-Division. He was named All-League. He made the All-Star team. Billy Grazier was from Long Island. He's married to his wife, Jessica. They just had a 4-month-old daughter who's over here and behaving very nicely. That's Ella. Is she over there? Oh, she's gone. She's gone already. He currently works for a company called PIMCO, an investment management company in New York City. Let's take a look at Billy's tribute.
Billy Grazier came to us from St. John's University, speed demon. I think he stole 32, 33 bases for us that year. Led the league in stolen bases, and I think he still holds a franchise record for that. Was on the 2001 championship team, and I think he hit .340 that year, led the team in average, and just a catalyst. He was just always on base all the time. Walked a lot, 29, 30 walks, somewhere in that range. Always walked a lot, stole some bases, made things happen, got on base, and just was a pain to the other teams out there. So Billy was really, really the catalyst for getting us going every game. When Billy went, we went, and he went a lot.
He was a special athlete. He came from St. John's in New York, grew up in Long Island, and when I first saw him, I knew that he was going to be a special player. As I watched him play on the field, he was a very, very good defensive right fielder. He had a plus arm. He had a very strong arm, but his biggest tool was his speed. He could really run, and he could really hit. He had probably our first player that we've had that had what we call 5 tools. He could run, he could hit for power, he had speed. He's a special player. He changed the game just with his speed alone. And I think he was one of the top hitters in the league that summer.
And Billy Grazier will come up. And Billy plays with the Newport Gulls, as you can see there. Good look at him. Came into the ball game batting at .336.
The funny thing about Billy Grazier, when he showed up here in Newport, we didn't have a host family for him and Jason. So I had to find a place for them to stay for a few nights until I could find a host family. It's our first year. So him and Jason stayed in my attic. It wasn't finished. We had no furniture in there. It was hot as anything. And him and Jason stayed in there for almost a week, I believe, until I could find them a host family, and then he settled in nicely. But when the playoffs came around, he became really special. His tools really stood out. Really played the game hard. I really enjoyed watching Billy Grazier play. Came to play every night. Very special player, and again, very deserving of being elected into our Hall of Fame.
Pleasure to have on the team. Great kid on and off the field, strong character. Really enjoyed having Billy with us.
Billy, we're happy that you came here to Newport and started our tradition here. You set the tone for a lot of players that came after you, Billy. And you, by the way, your Hall of Fame induction is well overdue, Billy. Congratulations.
Okay, folks, let's give a great hand and welcome our 2016 Hall of Fame inductee, Billy Grazier.
So for once, I'm happy not leading off. Man, I want to thank everybody here, everybody that contributed to getting this event together. It truly is special. Funny story, actually. My St. John's coach called me up. It was December, right before our season started. He said, "Hey, Bill, I got some good news for you. We set you up in the summertime for a league." I was like, "All right, great. Where am I going?" And he said, "You're going to Coastal Plains League." I said, "Coach, I really appreciate it, but being an outfielder, we're divas." And I said, "I'd like to be a little bit closer to my family, maybe New England, Cape, New England League, something like that. Just an idea, see what you could do for me." And he's like, "All right, no problem." There was an awkward silence, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna have my scholarships come January. And calls me up 2 days later. He said, "Bill, I got some bad news and I got some good news for you. What do you want first?" So I said, "Coach, you've been making me wait for 2 days, so give me the bad news first." He said, "Bad news, you can't say no this time. Good news is you're going to Newport, Rhode Island." And I had a grin across my face that my dad has seen many times. You'd think I had a name for it, something eating grin, I'm not quite sure. And I said, "I'm going to Newport this summer. How cool is that?" So hop in the car early June. I still had that nervous energy. I didn't know what to expect. I had a teammate that was going, but it was my first time playing away. And I remember crossing Pell Bridge, and I took a look to my right, and I was like, "Man, this place is beautiful. We could go 0-40, and I'd probably have a good time here." Got to the field, and I realized that 0-40 was just not going to be an option. So the passion that came from Chuck, our coaching staff, and there was already a culture of winning, and it was the first year there. They treated players like family. The community took us in. The host families were unbelievable, inviting players to come over for barbecues and hang out, and it truly was special. I had probably one of my best summers because of that. I felt like I belonged here, and I can't thank you enough. I talk about Newport and my summer in Newport to all my friends at nauseum, I'm sure, but it really meant a lot. And my wife Jessica and I, we've made Newport a part of our family. Ella spent her 4-month birthday up here this weekend, so it's in our bloodlines now. And the fact that Newport, the city, the Gulls organization, has made to be a part of their history, I truly am overwhelmed and humbled by this. And I can't thank you enough for this honor, and I really appreciate it. Have a great night, everybody.
That's great, Billy. Thank you so much. You know that 2001 team that you all probably don't know this, but that team, they lost their whole infield before the playoffs started. The whole infield. Mike got sick briefly. Our second baseman, Rafael Lara, had to go back and get his visa renewed from Venezuela. Chad Henry, our shortstop, hurt his back from Mississippi State. He couldn't play anymore. And Billy's teammate from Jason Kane from St. John's didn't like his at-bat the week before, so he punched the dugout and broke his hand. So that team went into the playoffs with a whole new infield. We were playing guys out of position. I brought back a temporary guy from Portsmouth that I signed in the beginning of the season just to have enough players. And they went on and won the championship, but Billy was the catalyst of that club. Billy, great job. Okay, we're moving on to our next inductee. That is Mike Affronte. From 2004 and 2005, he was a right-handed hitting shortstop from Lemoyne College in Syracuse, as he mentioned. Mike, that word that I think about with you is dirtbag. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Because Mike played the game hard, and he played the game the right way. He was always the dirtiest guy on the field. You know, he showed up in a white uniform, he had that eye black on, but by the end of every game, he was filthy. Every single game, he never would let a ball go by him that he couldn't get, and if he couldn't get it, he was diving. But he got to most of them. And he was just so consistent. He was an outstanding defender and was the glue and spirit of those teams. He kind of was that person who drove everybody to compete every day he showed up on the field. What I remember about you, he hit a ball back to the pitcher. Most guys, they don't run hard. He would sprint, regardless of whether he was going to get thrown out by a foot or 10 feet. He just, the way he played the game. Coach Owens, who we had a chance to spend some time with last night, he's the head coach now up at Bryant. He was the guy who sent him to us, and I always trusted Coach Owens because his players always were a fabric of his character. They were tough kids, and Mike was no slouch. In 2004, he was a great defender. In 2005, he had 255 for the Gulls that summer, but his defense and his glue and everything else he did for us was really what embodied and what that team represented. So, Mike has the all-time goals leader in 43 career double plays, 240 career assists. He's played in 73 regular season starts, 15 career playoff starts. In 2005, he was second in the NECBL in double plays with 25, and second in assists with 127 with only 4 errors. He had a fielding percentage of .978 that summer. He was a 2-time division champion with the Gulls. He was a 2005 NECBL champion. He was drafted in the 17th round by the Oakland A's. In 2006, he played 5 seasons of pro ball. He made it all the way to AAA. You know what that tells me about Mike? It's what I've told you from the beginning and about Mike for the rest of his life. He doesn't know how to lose. And in pro ball, he probably, and he'll tell you this, he probably wasn't the most talented player, but nobody was going to outplay him. He made it to AAA. He was knocking on the door in the big leagues. That's how close he got. Mike, that's a testament to your character and how you've always played the game, Mike. And it's really special as I watch you go through the minor leagues and climb through all those steps. It's not easy. It's so difficult. 2%, less than a 0.5% make it to the big leagues. And he was knocking on the door. Mike lives in New York City with his wife, Carrie. They have a 6-month-old daughter. Her name is Aubrey. She's up in the hotel right now. And he works for the CBRE group in New York City. Let's see Mike's tribute.
Mike Affronte, the dirtbag. Mike came from Lemoyne. Coach Owens always sends us his toughest kids. And we had a couple of Lemoyne kids before him. And a shortstop. So Mike came his very first year in 2004. Good-looking kid from New York. I really enjoyed him. Very personable young man. But when he got on the field, he was as focused as anybody. We've had a lot of really, really good shortstops here. What Mike was consistent, played the game the right way, hard all the time, and I call him a dirtbag because he was always dirty. There wasn't a game that he stepped off the field and he wasn't a mess. But you knew he just played a baseball game. That was Mike Afrani. There wasn't going to be a ball next to him. If he couldn't reach it with his glove, he was diving for it. And then ultimately, over a 2-year period, he was pretty special. You could see why he was the glue of those two teams that he played on. Him and a good friend of his, Sean McGill, were both similar in that regard. They were both leaders on and off the field. Mike Afrani, in 2 years with us, he was our glue. He was the reason why we were very competitive in both years. And frankly, we won the championship in 2005. We should have won in 2004. He'll tell you the same. But nevertheless, Mike was the leader in the infield. He was why the rest of those guys played hard every night, because you couldn't come onto the baseball field and not play hard when you're playing with Mike Afrani. If Mike's diving all over the place, hustling down first base, stealing bags, doing whatever it takes to win ball games, everybody had to follow suit because he was the guy who drove that team. So Mike Afrani, pretty special, my man. Off the field, Mike Afrani lived with the Yates family. He loved it there. He was part of everything that we did off the field. In other words, he was at every event, summer camps. Just a great goal. Mike Afrani was a great goal for 2 years, and again, we were very lucky to have Mike. Mike was a special player and a special young man. I know that he enjoyed himself here in Newport for 2 summers. His girlfriend used to come up and visit, and now it's his wife, and very happy for them. But again, Mike Afrani was a very special player on the field and off the field.
During the regular season in 2004, Mike was responsible for 113 assists. In 128 plate appearances, he struck out only 10 times, indicating that his batting, more often than not, moved runners along and materially contributed to his team's success. In 2005, his new uniform number was changed from 14 to 7, which may have been a harbinger of good luck and good things to come. There was a substantial increase in his batting average, and in the field, he was credited with 127 assists, 54 putouts, and only 4 errors in 37 regular season games. His NECBL championship ring was very well earned.
He was sensational. There were balls that he got to that I have not seen any other player get to since he was here for those 2 seasons. And I remember him playing at Cardines Field and just making these sensational plays, turning double plays. You know, he was defensively one of the best shortstops that I think the Gulls have ever had and may ever have. Off the field, though, he's one of those unique characters that just had that incredible personality. You know, Mike Afrani was well-liked around the dugout. He's definitely well-liked amongst us and the broadcast crew. He was a great interview. And I'll never forget that 2005 championship up in Vermont, when he's running around Montpelier Recreation Field with the Fay Vincent Cup in hand, smiling ear to ear. He looked like he was on top of the world, and he was.
Great feeling. We were so close last year, and to have it in our hands this year, it's just, can't even explain it. You know, some of these guys, we go to smaller schools, we don't have a chance to get that national championship. I mean, this is just, look at it, just look at it. It just smells wonderful.
Overachiever. Championship, his second year here with us, was a 2-year player for us. And first year just missed the championship in the finals. We lost to Sanford, I believe, and the second year we got the job done. And Mike was a big part of that, a big improvement for him the second season at the plate in the field. Always played well defensively, but I think he hit about 260 his second season, which was a big improvement from his previous year. Ended up getting drafted by the Oakland A's and played for a number of years and made it to AAA.
He was a hero last night. He threw out the tying run at the plate in the top of the 9th inning for the Gulls to win it. Friday stands in the pitch. Swing and a drive! Deep to center field. That falls for a hit. The Newport Gulls win the ball game. How about that, folks? Michael Afrani sends the first pitch in the left field. The left field couldn't get it, lost it in the fly, and Newport wins it.
Mike Afrani, love you, buddy. Outstanding. Great character. Enjoyed having you with us for 2 summers, Mike. You set the tone again. for the type of players that we wanted here in Newport. We won championships. We won a lot of games with you. Our dirtbag in the infield, Mike, thank you for being the guy and the player that you were.
All right, folks, let's welcome up to the podium our 2016 Hall of Fame inductee, Michael LaFronte.
So I got an email from Chuck a few days ago that said, you get about 1/10 of the time I get up here. So if somebody could set a timer for about 45 minutes, get me a glass of water. You know, all kidding aside, you know, all the people Chuck thanks, you know, when he does this event, I can't say it enough. It means so much to us as collegiate athletes to be able to come out and play and be seen by these scouts, and the only way we can do that is with everybody, everything that all of you guys do. So, you know, thank you very much. My wife I also have to thank, who's been running back and forth to our hotel room with our 6-month-old, who is the one day she decides to not be the best baby in the entire world. And she's crying, and the poor babysitter is probably dealing with it now, but thank you, baby, I love you. And congratulations to you guys, Billy, Mike, Stephen, Mike, and Al. Obviously, I didn't get a chance to play with you guys, but you know, from everything I've seen and heard about you in the stories, I'm proud to call you a Gulls family member. So I remember when I was at school, and we had a couple guys, as Chuck mentioned, from Lemoyne come through the Gulls before, and that was the thing, you know, like who's going to be the guy to get to the Gulls, and I was like, I called into the office, and Coach Owen said, Mike, you're going to go up to the Gulls, you know, and don't suck. We like sending guys over there. Coach Owen's always had you know, a nice way of putting things. So I went up here and proceeded to hit into 220, but you know, Chuck brought me back for the next year, and look, what I can say is I had some expectations coming to Newport. None of them, you know, nobody could have described what Newport did for me, for my baseball career, and just for my life in general. I mean, my wife and I come back here every year for our anniversary. It's just become part of our life, as Billy said. It's just, this place is addicting, you know, and the people here are addicting, and it's just, it will be somewhere I know we're proud to take Aubrey up here for the first time. It'll be somewhere we bring our little girl up every single year. So, you know, I just want to thank you again, Chuck, and everybody out here for what you do for us as collegiate athletes, and personally what you did for myself and my career and my family. Thank you very much.
Okay. Next, we'd like to induct Stephen Peterson, 2007, 2008, and 2009. Only maybe a handful of guys have played 3 years for us here in Newport. He was a left-handed pitcher. He started at Marist College in New York, and then he transferred to the University of Rhode Island. What reminds me, that one word that reminds me about Stephen Peterson is the word competitor. Petey was a fun guy, but when he stepped on the hill, all he did was compete. Whether he was a starter, whether he was a reliever, or our closer, it didn't matter to him. He just went out and competed every single time. He had great stuff, he had great makeup, and he was a hard worker. You always knew that about Stephen, you know. He worked his tail off all the time to try to get better and be the best guy he could. We were very lucky to have him. I remember a couple games he pitched, one up in North Adams where he was just sensational up there in a big playoff game for us. I know he pitched in the playoffs in 2009. He was sensational. Very special to watch. The other thing about Petey, and I just don't want, this isn't about his Hall of Fame career, but his family used to come to every single game he pitched. Every single game. And one person who's not here tonight, I want to recognize and just have a little moment of silence, and not necessarily a moment of silence, I just want to acknowledge him, was Petey's grandfather. You know, when you saw Mr. Senior Peterson, and then his dad, and then him stand together, that leaf didn't fall too far from the tree, folks. I mean, they were just like spitting image, one right after the other. 3 generations, they were so polite and so incredibly personable people. And I just saw his son just a little while ago, and that leaf didn't fall far from the tree. So we got 4 generations of Petersons here today. That's very special, but I did want to acknowledge your grandfather today, Stephen. He was a special man. Okay, Coach Healy was our coach in 2004. Yeah, remember we talked about this crazy web with all this stuff? Well, Coach Healy was Mike Afrani's coach in 2004. He was the Maris head coach. He was the guy who sent us Petey from the beginning. Petey had incredible 3 years here. He had a 5-2 pitching record. He had 5 saves. He pitched 76 in the 3rd innings with 86 Ks and only 24 walks. That's pretty impressive. He had a 3.32 ERA over 3 seasons. But it was that 2009 season. You know, the funny thing about Petey is I watch him through professional baseball. He just keeps getting better. I always talk about an athlete when their cream rises to the top. You know, you just can't deny them. They're just special. And Petey, that last year, in 2009, he had 5 saves with an ERA of .071 for 3rd in the NECBL. That summer, he threw 25 in the 3rd innings with 31 Ks. And he helped us bring home that championship and that trophy that he took home to his host family's house that night. He won 3 division championships, and he was a 2009 NECBL champion. In 2011, Stephen Peterson signed with the Milwaukee Brewers, and he's been in pro ball now for 6 years. He's still playing. He's made it to AAA. He's knocking on the door, folks. He's almost there. And the funny thing about him, he looked like one of those old Red Sox from 2004. He looks pretty clean right now. But you see his pictures in pro ball this year, he had a beard down to here. I was like, he looked like Millar. But he must have had a great time with that. And I see he does great things in minor league baseball. I always see how he does great things in the communities. I've seen him photos in hospitals, greeting kids. He's just a special person. Let's see, he lives in Danvers with his fiancee Colleen, and they've been together since the early days, just like Mike and Carrie, and back since high school. So last week they had their first baby, just last week. So let's give him a big hand. That's Brady Francis Peterson. That's the 4th generation Peterson. And Petey, let's look at your video.
All right, Stevie Peterson from Massachusetts, one of my Massachusetts boys. Stevie was a 3-year player for us. Had to come back the 3rd year to get the ring, but that's okay. He ended up coming back every summer to see us and play with us, and we really appreciated that and really enjoyed having his parents and his family around. Every game, early batting practice, Mr. Peterson would be there, Mrs. Peterson would be there, and they'd be following Stevie, and they wouldn't miss a game. Great to see him at the ballpark. Love to see them supporting Steve. They were always there for him.
I want to mention tonight his grandfather. When you looked at his grandfather, you could see where Stephen came from, a couple generations offset. Mr. Peterson, outstanding person. The grandfather, outstanding. And then young Stephen, outstanding. You could see the 3. They almost can put them together, and they looked alike, they acted alike, and they all 3 had and have plus characters. Great people. And that's why Stephen's such a special young man. It started with the grandfather to the father, and of course Kathy, his mom. Special, special people. They were at every game. Gulls family forever.
His first season here was unremarkable with a high earned run average, but his walk to strikeout ratio impressed the coaching staff. The numbers greatly improved in 2008, and in 2009 they turned absolutely spectacular. His ERA dipped to below 1 run per game, and he recorded 31 strikeouts against only 9 walks. He was an important contributor to the 2009 championship.
Petey, now you could possibly be back next year, right?
I mean, we could. I mean, I got another year of eligibility, but I mean, I'm just going to enjoy this right now. This is unbelievable. 3 years here and losing in the finals twice. Vermont the first year, Stanford last year, and coming out and doing it right now. It's unbelievable.
Dennis Healy, who coached here in 2004, told us about Steve Peterson wanted to send him to us, and it was I think it was his freshman year there, and we decided to take him. Dennis was always good to us, and he was our manager, so we trusted him. And he sent us a great left-handed pitcher, young kid, a lot of talent, and worked hard at his craft. Off the field, Steven Peterson had a great personality, enjoyed his time with the Lynches. He was one of their family. They had a great relationship, the Lynches and Steven.
Steven was so much fun to have here for 3 summers. It was such a treat to have him come back after his first year. Brought back some great memories after he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Congratulations, by the way. Some of the memories, remembering when he was here, teaching Hannah and Aiden how to ding-dong ditch the neighbors, which I may have to pay you back for someday with Brady. Going to Hazards Beach, going to the polo matches, and of course watching you play baseball and having a great season all 3 summers you were here.
I guess the most vivid memories are the memories at the beginning when he first got here. He was young, just finishing his freshman year. I really just remember, sitting up with him, watching whether it was the Bruins in the playoffs at that point, watching the Red Sox games. This is really before the season got started when he got here early. It was just, very good experience sitting with him, getting to know him. Just a great person.
He was a remarkable pitcher that 3rd year. He was very good all 3 years he was here, but you could really see the improvement from year to year, and that we were just lucky, I think, as a broadcast crew, to capture that, to see Steven's progress. We don't get that opportunity with too many players.
Here at Cardines Field, 1-2 the count, 9-2 Gulls lead. Runner at second, 2 outs. Peterson sets, kicks, deals. Strike 3 called on the inside corner. A.J. Rusbowski strikes out as Steven Peterson strikes out the side here in the 9th.
Kept after it, kept persevering, and I just, I'm there, Steven, when are you going to go get a real job? When are you going to stop chasing that dream? And he says, I'm not going to stop chasing it until it's done. And I think he's still playing to this day up in AA, AAA. I think he's in AAA now. And, big lefty like Stevie, he's right on the doorstep. And good for you, Stevie, for hanging in there and persevering. There's a lot of credit for that, for fighting through all those injuries and setbacks and people telling you that you can't do it, blah, blah, blah. And you just kept after it. And, the 3 years you were with us, we had a lot of fun having you around the ballpark. Like I said, your family was aces. And I still see your family around town in the wintertime, at the arcade, at the Brick Alley Pub, popping up because they love Newport and they really enjoy their experience here. And we loved having you on the team, and thank you for all you did for us.
Just congratulations, Steven, on the Hall of Fame entry on behalf of all the Lynches, myself, Heather, Aiden, and Hannah. Very proud of you.
All right, folks, let's welcome up to the podium our 2006 Hall of Fame inductee, Steven Peterson.
I got a little script here. I'm not as good as these guys. These guys can go off the top of their head. I got to write this stuff down. All right, first off, I want to start by thanking Chuck and Chris and the entire Newport Gulls organization for the tremendous honor of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. If you told me as a young and naive 19-year-old in 2007 that I'd be up here tonight, I would have told you that you were crazy. If you had told me in 2008 that they would welcome me back after sporting a 7-something ERA. Thank you, Don. The summer before, I would have told you that you're also crazy. Luckily, at Marist College, I had a coach in Dennis Healy who coached here in 2004, and he somehow convinced Chuck to take a chance on me in the summers of 2007, 2008, and 2009. It's a decision that I'll always be thankful for and opened up the door for 3 of the best summers of my life. That 2009 championship ring still puts a smile on my face today, especially after watching your opponent raise the championship trophy on your home field the previous 2 summers. That trophy actually slept between me and my fiance that night that we won it. So Chuck must have told me 100 times that night after he chased me down Thames Street up and down, please be careful, don't do anything stupid, and don't let anything happen to that trophy. So naturally, we buckled it into the back seat of my host family's SUV on the way home, so we made sure it made it home safe. To my fellow inductees, especially for me tonight to share this honor with you guys, it's pretty fair to say that being a member of this class says a lot about you guys, not only as players and volunteers, but people as well. It's been great getting to know you guys. It wouldn't be right for me to stand out here without recognizing the people who made this all possible for me and continue to drive me to be better every day. My mom and dad who are sitting over here, thank you very much for everything you guys do for me. I want to be the person or the player that I am today without you guys. You guys never missed a game, like Chuck said, when you were down here, and you got as much out of this as I did. Thank you for your continued sacrifice and love, and you guys mean the world to me. You know that. Thanks for being here. My amazing fiance, Colleen, who just gave birth to our first child Wednesday, October 12th, about 10 days ago, a beautiful baby boy named Brady. You're the strongest person I know, and I wouldn't want anybody else by my side on this crazy journey that we call life. So thanks for always being there for me and being my best friend. My host family, where do I begin? Heather and Jay Lynch and their 2 children, Aiden and Hannah. Thank you for opening your home to me for 3 straight summers and spoiling me like I was your 3rd child. You guys are like second parents to me, and I can never thank you enough for everything you did, not only for me, but for my family as well. So thank you guys. You may have noticed a common theme here when I talk tonight, and Chuck mentioned this earlier. As I searched for a word or a phrase or some way to sum up the 3 summers here in Newport, I kept coming back to the word family. Chuck and Chris always told us how special this team was and how this team is like a nest. A group of college kids from all over the country that come together for 3 months a year that aren't just committed to the game, but committed to each other. The relationships that I form here go far beyond the baseball field and continue to be strong today. Wins and losses only go so far, but this family lasts forever. Chuck touched on this a little bit. There's one person tonight that I did want to recognize who loved this city and this team as much as I did, and that was my grandfather who passed away in 2011. He never missed a game down here with my mom and dad, and I'm sure he left more than a few empty Guinness glasses down the street here at the Fastnet in Mudville. But he would have been very proud of this honor, would have loved to have been here, so I wanted to make sure I shared this with him tonight. So thank you guys.
Well deserved, Petey. You just your cream just rises to the top, my friend. Okay. Our next inductee, Mike Melillo from 2008 and 2009. He was a switch-hitting catcher from Elon. My word about Mike, what really embodies Mike? There's a lot of things that come to mind, but one thing that comes to mind, he's a leader. He was a cerebral catcher, very intelligent, very confident. He competed all the time. He was an outstanding defensive catcher who really had an idea behind the plate. He was a very good switch hitter with power for both sides, and he was big-time clutch. Big games, that's when he rose to the top, and Mike was a winner. He made our pitching staff better, both teams. How did Mike come to us? He's part of what we call that web. Okay, I'll make this real quick because we got to move on here. But Jerry Melillo's his dad, who's also in the room right now. Jerry Melillo was my teammate and Mark Horan's teammate and Ron Westmoreland's teammate in college. He was our catcher. He was my catcher. Mark was a catcher, so they spent every day together. They were best friends. Chris Patsos also was very good friends with Jerry because they played together in the Cape Cod League. Another summer collegiate league like this, they played together. So here we got Jerry Melillo. I hadn't seen him in years. He lived in New Jersey. He showed up at one game at Cardines with two boys. They were about this high, 13 and 15 years old, thereabouts. And it was Mike and Jeff. And they came to a Gulls game, and they wanted to see what was going on. I saw Jerry, and we stayed in contact. And fast forward, Mike goes on to Elon, and Chris does his homework and says, hey, Mike Melillo's ready to come here. So we grabbed Mike that first summer. But what happened to Mike was he had a sensational junior year. He's the all-time home run leader at Elon. The only kid that might catch him is his protege, Liam. But he had, if I remember correctly, 23 doubles. He had 19 home runs. He had 59 RBIs. As a junior, he hit 360 or something crazy. And he didn't get drafted. He was upset. When he came here in 2009, he wasn't the happy, he was Mike, but he just felt like, what do I have to do in this game to get recognized and get drafted? And he didn't. He was upset. So that first month he was here in 09, he was kind of miserable. But he just finally dropped it. He just said, okay, I'm here to play baseball, and did his thing. But in both years, he was so good in the playoffs, and that's really where Mike really stood out. But let's talk about his accomplishments real quick. In 2008, he batted .315. He had 2 home runs. He had 29 RBIs. And in the playoffs, he hit .433 with a home run, a triple, 2 doubles, and 7 RBIs. And they lost that championship game that Petey spoke about. In 2009, I told you he was depressed when he showed up. In 2009, his batting average dropped. But then, he's a mature kid, very smart. And he said, forget it, this is the playoffs, let's go. And he says, so the playoffs, he hit .440 with 2 home runs, 3 doubles, 8 RBIs, and he hit a home run in the championship game at Cardines Field. What I remember most about that is in 2009, Coach Coombs got kicked out the night before up in Vermont. It was a play, we were going to win that game, another championship right there. And a ball hit the batter, went left, and Mike scrambling, yelling at everybody that the ball hit the kid, and the umpire didn't see it. So Mike, the guy scored, the next guy got to third base, the guy that they had was a good player from Maine, hit a base hit, and they won, they beat us. Mike was so upset. Coach Coombs chased the umpire out, and by the time the umpire got off the field, Coombs was tossed from the game. So he couldn't coach the next day. But his top dog, Scotty, took over, and they won the championship the next night. But this is what I remember most. I was standing behind home plate, and you're probably going to hear this up there again, but I was walking behind home plate, and I'm nervous. That 2004 loss we had, Mike Afrani, that changed me, man. I thought that game was won, and we didn't win it. So I'm walking around 2009. I'm not real confident, but Mike looks at me behind home plate, and he goes, Chuck, what's the matter with you? I said, Mike, big game. Chuck, relax. We're going to win this thing. Relax. Well, what did he do? He hit a home run in the 8th inning to win the thing for us. Are you kidding me? That's the kind of player Mike was. So he was a 2-time division champion. He was a 2009 NECBL champion. He was first team all NECBL. He was an NECBL All-Star. He was the MVP of the All-Star game in 2008 in Torrington, Connecticut. And I remember you launching bombs in that home run derby, left side, right side, and I was pretty impressed, Mike. He was his senior year, he got drafted in the 31st round by the Milwaukee Brewers. He played 1 year, and like I told you earlier, he's a very intelligent guy. He had a different vision for his career. He moved back to Newport to work for his host family, Mr. Burns. He worked for them for about 4 or 5 years, 3 or 4 or 5 years, thereabouts. And most recently, he started his own company. It is called Dakwa. It's a mobile, web-based marina type of registration program that he has, and it's doing extremely well. I didn't do very good about that, Mike. Okay, all right. Well, you help me out and clean this up when you get up here. But anyway, he's doing a sensational job as a businessman. He just recently got married to his wife, Chloe. And Chloe, where are you, Miss Chloe? A wonderful wedding down in Mystic, Connecticut on July 22nd of this year. I believe the 22nd? Yes, sir. Okay, so let's watch Mike Melillo's video.
Mike Melillo, catcher from Elon, 2-year Gull champion, his second year here. Just a leader on and off the field. Came back that second year because we didn't win a championship that first year, and he had a job to finish, and he finished it.
NECBL All-Star catcher and All-Star Game MVP, Mike. A tough loss here in the series for Newport, but a season to remember.
Best one I've ever had by far, and I just thank everybody that, put the time and effort in, and the guys, and Chuck. Can't beat it, won't ever forget the memories, that's for sure.
We won't have that one final bus trip to Sanford tomorrow, but the summer will never be forgotten.
No chance it will be. Hopefully I'll be back here next summer to create some more.
2 into the count, 2 outs, top of the ninth, here's the pitch. Swung on and missed, the Newport Gulls, the 2009 NECBL champion. But you caught every game of this series. You were fired up and ready to go. Hit that big home run on this one.
Yeah, nothing was easy. Nobody was going to roll over and give it to us. And Vermont we were so mad because we know how good of a team they are, and we had them. We thought we did. So, but it was nice to come back here and win it at home. And what we did was just awesome.
Great defensive catcher, great player, great leader during the year. The catalyst to get us going in the final games. Said that we're going to win the last game, and we won it. He said, "Don't worry, guys. We're going to win this game," and we won it. And he had a home run that game. So
2-0. Swung on and in the air to deep right. Way back it goes. If it's fair, it's gone, and it is a home run. Mike Melillo with a solo bomb to lead off the second. Newport Gulls lead 2-1. His second home run of the postseason.
But Mike was a talented catcher, team leader. His handling of the pitching staff was outstanding. In 2008, he appeared in 33 games, made only 5 errors, and batted for a .315 average. In 2009, his outstanding work behind the bat continued. His regular season batting average declined somewhat, but he more than made up with it in the playoffs, batting in the 380s.
So Mike showed up and pulled in the driveway, and the kids ran out and met him, and he instantly became part of our family. He's like a big brother to our 3 kids. We've stayed in touch over the years.
And when you have a guy like Mike Melillo, who came here, played here for 2 summers, and now lives here, and now makes his living here, that's the definition of family. And I'll never forget the 2012 season, when the Gulls were one of the premier teams in the country. Mike did something that I think he had done in college, and that was get the St. Baldrick's organization in baseball involved with the Gulls. And what we accomplished as an organization that night was something remarkable.
Mike Melillo, you look like you've lost a little hair here tonight.
I went down a little bit earlier. It was nice to see good Gulls win, and it was unbelievable support from everybody. We had a great time.
Heard $15,000 plus raise, including over $4,000 here tonight.
Over 4 and almost at 16 now with the final donations coming in.
Yeah, we had a lot of really great memories. He would come in, wrestle with the kids. Mike is really speedy at everything he does. He would be here 1 minute, then the next minute we'd be, "Where's Mike?" And he was off and running and going to the next game or to the field for practice or wherever he was headed. He's high energy, lots of fun, and he was just a great part of our extended family.
Mike's a good guy. He's always been kind of a role model to me, being a big brother even when he went away to college. Always looked up to him on and off the field. It's kind of why I followed him up here, both to play and to live. So lucky to have him as a brother, and happy to hear that he's getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. I'd like to note some of the fields were smaller when he played, which probably contributed to a few of his home runs, but I did come see him play up here. I think it was 2008 was the first time I came up here. I think my sister and I were at the game, and didn't really know or think I'd be playing here at the time, but kind of turned full circle and got to watch him play, meet some of the guys, meet his host family, as well as the coaching staff and the owners.
Congratulations. We're so proud of you. We're proud of everything that you do, of your business, that you've grown up to be a fine young man, and it's well-deserved to be part of the Gulls Hall of Fame.
Mike Melillo, that's a really interesting one for us because, as you know, his dad, Jerry, was my catcher in college. And somewhere over the course of the 20 years after school, Jerry showed up at Cardines Field with his 2 boys. They were about 14 and 12 at the time. One of them, of course, is Mike, and the other's Jeff. Well, they came and watched the game. It was great to see him. To be able to see Jerry's children was a real honor to me. It warmed my heart. These are somebody that's so meaningful to me. They're his kids. Fast forward a couple years later, and they want to be Gulls. Mike was at Elon, and somebody contacted us about Mike, and we took him. And he came up here in 2008, a switch hitter with pop from both sides of the plate. Very good defensive guy, very cerebral. He really understood catching. He probably can call a game better than most coaches. Very smart kid, and he really understood the game. What I didn't know was how competitive Mike was, and Mike was very competitive, outstanding catcher, and a really good hitter. Mike, you know how special you are to me and to us. You are one of the most special people we've had here in Newport over a long period of time. Your character, again, is outstanding. You're the player you are because of the people that raised you and how you learn how to play the game the right way, and your passion for success. And lastly, Mike, you just recently were married. I'm so happy for you. All the best to you and Chloe for a great life. And hopefully one day, and I'm still around, you can walk to Cardines with your 2 boys and come to me and say, these are my 2 boys, Chuck. I'd like you to meet them, and maybe one day I'm around to see those guys play the game the way you and your brother Jeff and your dad did.
All right, folks, let's welcome up our 2016 Hall of Fame inductee, Mike Melillo.
So I want to thank Chuck because I now know how Hillary Clinton feels. The email that I sent you was labeled top secret and was supposed to be kept on your server about the stories about Patsos taking his shirt off, so that wasn't supposed to be shared with the crowd tonight, but I do appreciate it, and thanks everybody for coming. I know we're getting a bit late, so I'll be pretty quick here. So when this was announced, I think we got inducted about 4 years ago. It feels like you changed the date a couple times. I lost track, but of course it was an honor. And of course, my younger brother, who you guys all saw on the screen there, you know, as they're supposed to do, pointed out pretty quickly to me, as you guys can see in the program tonight, that it seems like the selection process is not driven based on quantitative analysis, but qualitative based on my stats in the 2 seasons. And he was right about that. And as Chuck pointed out earlier, for those who might not know, Gulls have a pretty special tie to my family, with my dad playing with you, Mark, and Ronnie, and obviously with Patsos, living with my father on the Cape for one summer to the delight of my mother. And if the Gulls championship night was any indication, Mom, I clearly understand what 1981 must have been like for you. It really wasn't until this morning when I sat down and finally hit me that I realized that amongst all these incredible inductees, past, present, and future, I've done something better than all of you, and that nobody will ever touch. No one has taken advantage of being a Newport Gull more than I have. I'm not joking. By the end of this speech, you're probably going to wonder why the hell I didn't buy 10 tables tonight, and it's probably because you're going to think I'm cheap, and that's actually right, but it doesn't mean that I'm not grateful. So I wrote a poem to share with you all these incredible opportunities that were bestowed upon me because I was a Gull. Title, because I was a Gull. Because I was a Gull, I played for a manager that allowed me to fall in love with the game again, for an organization in a city that made it even better. Because I was a Gull, I played in 2 championships with some of the best guys that I've ever known, one of which is in the room tonight, a new dad, a phone call away from realizing the dream all of us have when we put our uniform on for the very first time. Because I was a Gull, I found a second family, one who truly adopted me and loved me as if I was one of their own. Because I was a Gull, this wonderful family welcomed me into their home and gave me my first job. Because I was a Gull and I now had a job, I knew Robert Catalupo, the little announcer that used to come to our games. And because I knew Rob, I knew Rob's father. And because I knew Rob's father, I knew Denise Patsos, knew his grandfather. And because I knew his grandfather, I got the nicest apartment in downtown Newport for a summer. And because I got the nicest apartment in downtown Newport for a summer, I met a girl, a beautiful girl, who I still can't believe to this day actually agreed to marry me, which makes me the luckiest guy in the world. Because I was a Gull, my brother was able to play here. In addition to having my best friend around for the summer, Al Leyva and I were able to save his swing from the perils of Rutgers baseball and a father who was an outstanding defensive catcher. At some point, I'm confident when evaluating his time here, the selection committee will not need to consider the same qualitative factors required to rationalize my induction today. Because I was a Gull, a new company exists. A company co-founded with some of my best friends. The amount of happiness this company creates for us on a daily basis is immeasurable. Life after baseball, for those who may not know, can be pretty daunting. I truly love what I do, and I fully recognize that if it were not for the people in this room and the people that I met as a Gull, this company would not exist. Because I was a Gull, my entire family was able to fall in love with this city, so much so that 3 out of 4 of us now live less than a mile apart, which is pretty awesome. So in closing, because I was a Gull, I had 2 of the best summers of my life. I won a championship. I made a new family. I received my first job. I landed a killer apartment. I met a beautiful girl. I saved my brother's swing and my parents' sanity while checking box scores for the next 2 years. I co-founded a company, and I live within walking distance of the people who mean the most to me. So thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I truly mean it. I will never be able to pay you, Patsos, Mark, Ronnie, and Greg for all that you guys have done for me. I know it's getting late. I know everybody's really tired, but what these guys do is truly incredible. They open up doors for people that would not previously exist, and I think you've heard an example of that tonight, especially for us who play on the smaller scale at the mid-major schools, who might not get an opportunity to play on a stage of this size. So I know the summers are long. I know you guys work all year, but what you do has a material impact on people's lives, and for that, we'll always be grateful. So thank you.
Thanks for those kind words, Michael. Okay, our last inductee happens to be the first in our whole organization. Mr. Al Wiseman, from 2001 to present day. The word that comes to mind with Al is the word loyal. Al represents the meaning of Newport Gulls family. Over 16 seasons, he's been the model of consistency as our scoreboard operator, missing only a handful of games in 16 years. You know, one of those periods of time, and I didn't write this down, but his wife got very sick. And, you know, I used to say to Al, he struggled when he came to Cardines Field because his wife was home. And I'd say, Al, why don't you go home? Oh, Chuck, I feel like I'm supposed to be here. You know, I can't let you guys down. You know, his wife was sick, and she passed shortly after that. But Al never, you know, Al stayed with us the whole time. It was a way for him to get out of the house. I know that. I used to go visit him at his home. And nothing gave me more pleasure to sit with Al, and Al would tell me how much the Gulls meant to him. So, it was pretty cool And Al's wearing tonight his 2001 ring. He's got 6 of these folks. He's had the opportunity to see 6 championships, and he has 6 championships rings that he's earned just as hard as these players earn. It gives me great pleasure when I walk to his house in the middle of the winter time, or I don't walk to his house, I will go to his house, and it's the middle of the winter, I knock on his door, he answers the door, "Hi Chuck, hey, how you doing?" "Hey, how you doing, Al? I've got something for you, sit down." And I hand him his championship ring. You should see him light up. Amazing. Started working with us because I was playing hoops at the Y, and I told you earlier, his son Larry said, "Hey, grab my dad, he'll help you out," and he sure has. He has operated the scoreboard more than 400 games at Cardines Field, and he's had 6 NECBL championships. He's seen more players come in and out of here. He's seen all of our 11 major league players. You've seen every one of these guys play and come through. He's attended all of our social events on our behalf. You know, we march in parades and we do things in the community in the off season. Who's the guy I always can rely on? Al. Al shows up. He's in the parades, he's waving to people, he does whatever we ask him to do. And as Chris said earlier, you see him running around town. That's what he was trying to show, because he's a runner. He used to run, how many marathons you run, Al? How many? 4 marathons, and he's still running. Al lives in Newport. He has 2 children, Larry and Andrew. He has 2 grandchildren. He's a passionate Newport guy. So honored to have you up here tonight, Al. Thank you for all you've done for us on and off the baseball field. You've also hosted one of our coaches 2 years ago. You're generous, you're loyal, Al. Our organization wouldn't be the same without you. So let's take a look at Al's video right now.
I've known Al, of course, close up for 15 years. We have attended every Gulls game, maybe 6 inches to a foot away. In the course of time, you learn about a person's beliefs, his politics, his highs and his lows. And we've certainly shared all that and still remained very fast and close friends. Al and I, maybe we can be described as the odd couple in Cardines Field. Working with Al has been a pleasure. We do keep in touch in the off season, talk about what the prospects may be coming up, and discuss professional baseball to some extent. But I'm looking forward to another season working with Al, unless he wins a lottery or something and decides to buy an island in the Caribbean.
I first met Al Wiseman in 2004, and I didn't really know too many people around the organization at that time. I was a 19-year-old kid running around in a suit and a fedora trying to get interviews for the pregame show. Al was there every game, and he was there every game the next year, and the year after that. The dedication of Al Wiseman to this organization is beyond almost anyone else's commitment. Of all the people involved, of all the volunteers we've had over the years, Al Wiseman's been there through it all. From day one in 2001, when this team moved here from Cranston, the history I know he must have is pretty phenomenal. To see all of the Newport Gulls, incredible history over 16 seasons now, and Al is truly deserving of being in this Hall of Fame. I'm really, really honored to see him inducted here tonight. And Al is somebody truly special.
Al Wiseman, Easy Al. Easy Al Wiseman. We call him Easy Al for a lot of reasons, because nothing gets him too riled except when Don O'Hanley doesn't play the music too loud or talks too much. But other than that, Al's great. He's been with us since day one. Ultra loyal volunteer. Does a fantastic job with the scoreboard. You can count on him. The day is long, and we are very grateful and thankful to have Al as part of our organization, because without guys like Al, we wouldn't be as successful as we are. And You know, it's a tribute to people like Al and Don O'Hanley and everybody who puts the time in at Cardines Field to make our job easier, and because they want to be part of the community and part of the team, and that's really, you know, makes Chuck and I very happy to see that. So, but Al, thank you very much for all you do.
Al Wiseman has been one of the most consistent and one of the most loyal people we've had in our organization since day one. Al, just want to thank you from all of us here with the Newport Gulls for all your time, for all your efforts, for your passion for what we do. You're a loyal friend and a Gull forever.
My father gets so much enjoyment doing the games and watching phenomenal baseball, and he's surrounded by so many great people within the Gulls organization, from the owners and the other volunteers like Mr. O'Hanley. Well, he's always been around it his entire life. I can tell he really starts to get excited about the season coming up in the spring, and I know he just looks forward to it, the game. I just hope that my father can do it for many more years to come.
Okay, folks, let's welcome up our last inductee from 2016, Mr. Al Wiseman. 16 years, folks. Let's give a big hand. 16 years, folks.
Folks, that's tough to beat, and appreciate that very much from everyone here. And I'm very pleased to be honored by the Newport Gulls. I have a few things to say, so if I have a few senior moments, just bear with me. Thank you. I want to thank each and everyone for being here this evening. I'd like to just introduce my family, sitting over there to my right. Just stand up and say hello, please. Thank you very much. You know, I've never hit a single stole a base or even made an out. I am truly honored and humbled in receiving this prestigious Hall of Fame award given to me by the Newport Gulls. The owners of the Newport Gulls, Chuck, Chris, Ron, Mark, Greg, always made me feel personally part of their organization. If I just get off a couple of things I'd just like to say about Chuck and Chris. They've always been special to me in certain ways away from the ballpark. You know, if I'm out running, Chuck would always come by, and whenever I'd see him, he'd say, Al Wiseman, Al Wiseman. You know, he's a big wave, and off he'd go. And I'll never forget one winter day in February, I was trying to get up Quidnick Ave, and it was really cold, and I was just really sorry I even went out. But anyway, all of a sudden, Chuck came down the hill, and Al Wiseman, you know, always giving me a big wave and a big smile. And also, one other thing Chuck always did whenever I'd see him around the neighborhood or at an away game, he'd always have that big smile. And I knew I was in trouble because he would always give me one of these Newport bear hugs. And I'd be off the ground for like 3 feet and every which way and going back and forth. And every time, whenever he let me down, I didn't know if I was walking or riding. But those are things that I really appreciated him doing to me very much. And Chris, you know, it's funny, Chris on Memorial Drive, whenever he'd see me in that particular neighborhood, he'd always pull up in the middle of Memorial Drive and call me over, and the cars would be going this way and that way, right in the middle. He would never pull over. So it was something else, I'll tell you. And I'd get on the running board of his car, and he'd always say to me, you know, this is like in the wintertime, and how am I doing, making sure I'm doing okay. And he'd always say to me, how's Larry, how's Janine, how's Larry? And I would say, fine, and say a little for me, and he did, and I would. And, but here's one thing about Chris I'll never forget. He did something special for me, and I just want to let him know that I'll never forget what he did for me personally. And it was about 6 years ago. He asked me to help him out with his baseball team. And I guess they were 13-year-olds. I didn't know I was like 60 years past my due date, but that's beside the point. But the reason why he did it was he did it to me because he wanted me to. He did it for a special reason, and I always wanted to let him know that I know exactly why he did it. And that was 6 years ago, and it came from the bottom of his heart, and I thank him very much. So I'll just continue if I could. Let's see, the Newport Gulls, their ongoing reading summer school programs for children, special nights for families in need, award citations, summer camps for youth baseball, and junior Gulls baseball, all geared for families on Aquidneck Island and beyond. Thanks to the Newport Gulls, this is baseball at its best. It's also important to me to recognize my fellow volunteers of the Newport Gulls. With the Newport Gulls, everybody goes by their first name. There's no last names. We all know each other. We've been together for many years, and I don't even know half the guys, their last names anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. But let's see, Brown program volunteers like Rick, Russell, John, Greg, all have been with the Gulls for a very long time. Dennis is a Newport Gull from head to toe, heart and soul. For many years, Dennis has been in charge of the ground program at Cardines. There is not enough personal thanks from me to you, Dennis. So I will just say thank you this one time. I know you get it. All the years with Donnie, sitting side by side, we have made up stories, fiction and nonfiction. That's Donnie. You just heard his voice. I call him, his name is Donald. I call him Donnie. Al and Donnie have been partners, always Newport Gulls, always Newport Gull professional, again side by side. A little boisterous at times, but in a Newport Gull spirit. Mrs. Donnie, the most loyal fan of the Newport Gulls, always sitting beside Mr. Donnie. Nick and Tom, two special guys, the high-tech brothers of the Newport Gulls. Their outstanding ongoing professionalism at Cardines game after game, season after season. David, working the crowd, making fans feel welcome and well informed at each game. And then there's Stevie. He works for the sports department at the Newport Daily News. Stevie does professional write-ups for the Newport Gulls game after game. I have a very, very special feeling considering my Hall of Fame award, a special feeling I cannot express with words. That special feeling is all around me and will be with me wherever I go. The Newport Gulls have given to me a home full of special moments, a home full of treasured memories, and a home full of lifelong friendships. Thank you.
Well, folks, that was well said, Al. That was very special and heartfelt. You really, I'm sure you touched a lot of people in here, Al. Okay, a couple things as we wrap up here. The silent auction, Chris, is that over? Do we need to go out there? 10 minutes. Silent auction, we're going to go out there and make your last bid?
Yeah, 10 minutes, and make sure my son signed about 10 sheets, so make sure someone signs. Please sign the sheets after him, okay? Jeez. But we'll do about 10 minutes, and we'll close it down and wrap it up, okay? Thank you.
Okay. And listen, I'd like to really honestly, from all of us at the organization, we're so grateful to everybody in this room. You've all contributed at some point in time to this organization. I know you have. We're so grateful. You see the wonderful things that we started here. Thank you to the families who have allowed their children, their kids to come here, the Bolanders, the Graziers, the Petersons, and the Franes, and the Melillos, and the Wisemans. Thank you so much. We're honored to have your kids with us in the summertime and give us the opportunity. You trust us to take care of them. Thank you. I'd like to thank, I need to thank my wife. My wife, Melissa, for allowing me to do this for all these years. And thank you for your support, Melissa. It's been a kind of a family thing that we've started, and it's hard to walk away from, but it's got, look at all the great family members we have in this room. And thank you, Lauren, for being a great little one that you've always been. And when you used to come to the game with your little t-shirt on, your shorts, you didn't want anybody to know you were a girl. You'd sit in the dugout. Then all of a sudden you're 14, 15, things are starting to change, and Coach Coombs comes over to me and goes, Chuck, get her out of the dugout. So anyway. And then, and lastly, Hall of Famers. You're Hall of Famers. Come back home. You're our family. Come home whenever you want. This is your home. These are your people. Thank you for setting the standard to be a Newport Gull. Thank you for showing us how to win. Thank you for showing everybody around you how to play the game the right way. Thank you for the influence you've had in the community, these summer camps that we run. These kids work with our kids in this community, all the reading programs. These guys read. You know, these older guys didn't have the opportunity to do the reading program that these guys have to do today. But we're learning. We grow. Everything grows. We've tried to become better every year. We continue to raise the bar in summer college baseball. But it really is because of all of you. Thank you all so much. I hope you enjoyed tonight's Hall of Fame inductions. And we're going to head over to the Hyatt bar over there and sit around with these guys and chat. And you're all welcome to join us. You're part of the family. And again, thank you for a wonderful night, and thank you for all that you do. Can we get some pictures going?
And welcome back one final time to the Newport Gulls 2016 Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Once again, congratulations to the inductees, Michael Bolander, Billy Grazier, Michael Affronti, Stephen Peterson, Mike Melillo, and Al Wiseman. It was a fantastic night here at the Hyatt Regency on Goat Island as the Gulls kick off the 2017 season. We'll see you next at Cardines Field in June. But before we leave tonight, I want to take a moment to thank those who made tonight's broadcast possible. The executive producer and director of Newport Gulls Baseball is Tom Lima. Our producer and audio technician, Shannon Carlson. Producer, Everton Carter. Camera, Andrew Spaziano. Our production assistant, Mike Kane. Our on-site engineer is Steve Rice. And a special thank you to Director of Baseball Operations and Media Relations, Nick Lima, who helped make this entire event possible. Your hosts, Chuck Pava, Chris Patsos, and the rest of the Newport Gulls organizations, thank you for joining us here tonight. This is George Bissell saying thanks for watching. Until our next broadcast, so long, everybody. See you at Cardines Field.